The nightlife in Pensacola, yes. Look at it. The streets are just crowded. They told me it's past your bedtime. Get to sleep. So I'm going to sleep. Adios, amigos.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Welcome to a late Saturday night edition of 757 Sports Talk with the coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield, as we are here with you in the evening time for a couple of different reasons. Uh-oh, he's got the finger up. Be careful which finger you wave and show. What hat do you have on now?
If you can wear a hat.
Uh-oh. Is that an Oscar Smith hat or a Smithfield hat? I can't tell. It's got a big S.
Smithfield, baby, the Packers, one and only. Smithfield.
Okay. All right, you get some ham. And by the way, you're one victory away from not having to do what you said you would do if the Petersburg Crimson Wave didn't win a state championship. We'll see if Lake Taylor can use that as their rallying cry coming up. But
I hope Lake Taylor wins. I really do. But
so tell the audience what you'll have to do if Lake Taylor does beat Petersburg. Refresh the memories, because a lot of people out there might be tuning in for the very first time or missed what you declared a month ago.
I honestly, I've had a 24-hour bug. I've been laying in bed for the last 20 hours.
Time out real quick and get a little closer to the screen. Hold on. We declared it on the chat or the description of this show as the world's second worst virus. You know what the world's worst virus was? Stomach bug?
I don't know, because I hope I didn't get it or will.
No, some guy who kicked the bucket. So you were a close second.
Who's that? Who kicked the bucket?
I know some guy kicked the bucket. I asked the doctor. He said, "No, listen, Ed Young stomach bug, ladies and gents, it was the second worst of all time, all time." No, mind you, what I had to go through in Pensacola. Oh, by the way, I was the fortunate one. Hold on. I was the fortunate one, because what you don't know, and a lot of the audience doesn't know, is there was some wacky weather that caused, including one of the passengers next to me on my flight back today from Pensacola through Atlanta to Norfolk. She literally, and I'm telling you, she was Wanda Sykes 2.0. This lady was a trip. We just know her as Nana. I don't know. I didn't get her full name, but her name is Nana. Let me tell you, she's Wanda Sykes 2.0, and she was able to talk her way to get on the plane when she was like number 79 on the waiting list. She went through Kansas, through Tennessee, had to sleep overnight with hundreds of people in the Atlanta airport. Thank goodness I was not one of them, because my flight was in the morning, which is why I wasn't able to do the show in the morning time today. We thought the ODU women's basketball team, which I'm the broadcaster for in my 5th season, concluding here. We think concluding, unless there's postseason play, might be playing today, in fact, against Arkansas State, the number 3 seed in the tournament. A couple double-digit seeds made the quarterfinals, Ed, amazingly, in South Alabama, the 12 seed, which had a pow right in a kisser fight earlier in the week with Coastal Carolina. I think you started the fight from what all indications are. But UL Monroe, the other double-digit seed, who lost today to Arkansas State 76-68. So they and the Jaguars going home probably tomorrow. No idea if they'll have any delays. But that was why we did the show this morning. In addition to your stomach bug, which, again, people, the second worst stomach bug of all time. He's about to tell you about it for the next 25 minutes, which will take up more time than our allotted guests, which include John Hanley boys basketball coach Zach Harold Zook, who goes for his first state championship. He coached in a state championship game in which the judges lost to Smithfield. But Ed Young was not the coach then. And we have another special guest coming on in the 9 o'clock hour. In the evening, by the way, 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock evening. And that is a guy from the 757 going for a state title against a legend from the 757. We're talking about Adrian Webb, who's won a state championship before, the Menchville girls, former PG for the Bethel Bruins, and Craig Breon, by the way, who's retiring this season. And Menchville, PA, one of 2 all 757 state championship games coming up at VCU and Richmond this week. Are you well enough to go to Richmond now? Because Lord knows, after all with your stomach bug, I would have thought we'd be reading you from a bed right now in a hospital. Uh-oh, he's calling me, folks. Look, get some water or get some good OJ.
I need some good OJ. Next break, I'm going for some OJ. I'm good for next weekend. It was a 24-hour bug. I'm a little bit past it now. Excuse me. I haven't eaten in 24 hours because I'm afraid to put anything in my stomach. But I'm going to test the waters here pretty shortly if I'm breathing enough to do that. But no, I ain't going to bore people with the details of stomach. Everybody out there has had a stomach virus. You know what it involves. Yes, it involved me. It happened while I was in school, and I made, in one class, 5 trips to the restroom. Them kids probably thought, man, what's wrong with this dude? But I'm okay, ready to go, and we'll be ready for next weekend without a doubt. And yeah, don't get me started on Crosby being traded. I'm trying to get over being sick, not get deeper into sickness. The Raiders, and they're my team till death do us part, but they're going to cause my death sooner than later.
Ooh.
The Davis boy, it started with his freaky haircut. He don't know what he's doing.
His freaky haircut.
Get a picture of Mark Davis up somewhere without a hat or whatever on. Tell me that's a regular, normal chicks dig it haircut. And there's no way.
Is it as lovely as my haircut?
Davis is probably the one guy you will beat easy. I would say that much. That's the one guy you can beat easy. But
easy. Okay, good to know.
I don't want to go off on it, but the Raiders got 2 first-round picks. I argued today online with some Raider fans. You don't know what draft picks are going to do until 2-3 years after you draft them. So let's hold off on this. And Crosby's 28 years old. One dude tried to argue with me, told me he was 32. I'm pretty sure he's 28. He's not often injured. He plays at 80%. Max Crosby was better than 95% of the Raiders who are at 100%. So they tanked a lot themselves, not the team, the players. Once the season, when I need to clean house and get rid of a lot of players. Everybody's crazy about Kubiak. What's his record as head coach? Yeah, I'm going to wait too. Let's wait and see what he does. First of all, let's big difference from second chair to first chair. So let's see what happens. Okay. And they're right now they're on par to get maybe 6 wins next year. I don't care what they draft, 6 wins. So I'm done with the Crosby situation. I hope Max gets Baltimore, which means he'll be in the playoffs the next few years. And now I got to take a trip to Baltimore next year to see him play. I'm always
no. You're going to make a trip to Baltimore to see the Yankees play the Orioles, and I hope
it's already on tap. I got that.
I hope AJ Risser out there and I can just razz you when the O's sweep your Yanks. And by the way, we're here to talk mostly high school basketball tonight. We are going to sprinkle in some college hoops. Danny Hurley getting ejected as he channeled his inner Ed Young, getting mad at the officials. Duke, North Carolina just concluded. Caleb Foster was dinged up, as was Patrick Ngumba, former Paul VI standout. Caleb Wilson didn't play for UNC, which kept it close earlier than the Blue Devils widened it in the second half with Cam Boozer and company. But it's mostly going to be state championship talk here on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk. And you're always welcome to interact with us. You're always encouraged to, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, the Twitter, the X, wherever it might be. I see we have all kinds of people tuning in on the IG. In fact, shout them out. Just go down a list of them from Rolling with Trail to Drake 2408. I wish we could get these IG comments up there. Our man Walcott, Bill Walcott out there says Menchville, PA should be, as Tony Mercurio would say, a wing ding doodler and a slapper dapper sasher too. Our friend Paige Chanel out there watching. Coach Robinson out there. Congrats to you. His Eagles going on to the state championship. We'll be calling that on the NFHS Network later this week. And O2B meme join. We have a bunch of people. I can't shout them all out. And they're also watching on the YouTube, on the Facebook, on the X. And look, we've even got Derek Fulgham tuning in. Life is good. Yeah, on a Saturday night, Derek, we got Ed away from the nightlife for just once. But really, the bug got him away from the nightlife because he likes to go honky-tonkin' on the town. And Woody Wagner with us even on a Saturday night, too. And we are supposed to have Zach Harold Zook with us here in just a little bit from the John Hanley Judges, as well as Adrian Webb of the Menchville girls basketball program. But Ed, 7-0 for the 757 in state semifinals. And you didn't get to see any of them in person. You watched a couple online. I was watching a bunch online from my hotel room after making the trip on the bus from the Pensacola Bay Center to my hotel there on the Pensacola beach. I had like 8 windows open. And thank goodness you did not mess up my NFHS watching when it says, oops, somebody else is watching, because I would have literally found you and had someone like body slam you. But and I saw a bunch of them as the Lansdowne boys ended up beating South County in Class 6. You also had Green Run and Norview prevailing in Class 5 over at Norfolk State, where the Stallions ousted Stonebridge, exacted some revenge for what happened to them back in 2021. We call that state championship game up in Ashburn, had an 18-point lead and coughed it up. Norview was down early against Massaponax, 1-point game after one. Then they just blitzed the Panthers from there on. Hampton Heritage Leesburg, I know you watched most of that in Class 4. What a ball game that was. Eric Brown's Crabbers pulling it out late. Abraham Taft and especially Josh Rice making some clutch plays. Jawan Tucker 2. Rice had the tie-breaking 3 late. Class 3, Derek Yogi Edwards' Lake Taylor Titans go on the road to Jefferson Forest High School and eliminate Liberty Christian Academy's Bulldogs. So there you have it on the boys' side. And Princess Anne girls at Norfolk State, they were a winner over William Fleming. A little closer than we thought. Menchville absolutely all over Glen Allen. And who am I leaving out? Oh, we got some Class 4 girls in action tonight. And you'll be delighted to know I didn't get a final tally of the Manor girls game over in Portsmouth against Hanover. They won comfortably, and the Hampton girls a winner tonight, 60-49 over the Henrico Warriors on the road. So Hampton and Manor girls moving on. That leaves like 9 teams from the 757. How about that?
I think I might be wrong, but I think it's 11.
It's 11? Who am I leaving out?
11 teams. You PA Menchville, Green Run Norview, Lake Taylor, boys side, PA Menchville's girls, Manor girls, Hampton girls.
I think your counting's a little off.
I counted too many? Was it 9?
Yeah, you counted too many. Yeah, it's 9 is what I just said.
Okay, then it's not. And
math was not your best subject. It's okay. It's okay.
Because he always put me in the back, son of a guns. But
celebrating in Durham, buddy.
Yeah, well, come on now. For all you Dukies out there, Dookie is 15, 20 points better than Carolina.
Keep your comments on that later, because we do have our special guest waiting. So we're going to take a quick timeout. We do have Zach Harrelzook ready to come on with us, one of your BCAV brothers from the Basketball Coaches Association of Virginia. And we'll see if Ed gives them any tips and tricks or thoughts on the matchup with the Crabbers and the Judges coming up at VCU, the Siegel Center, next Saturday. It's going to be a dandy, folks. Quick timeout to hear from our sponsors. We'll be back with more right here on 757 Sports Talk. You're watching on Cova Sports TV. Back in just a moment. It's an evening edition.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us here on Cova Sports TV, wherever you are on this particular evening edition of the program, our state championship special, because we're ready for state finals this week at Virginia Commonwealth University's Siegel Center in Richmond. And excited to be playing there is the head basketball coach of the John Hanley Judges. I believe he's the youngest coach to hit 100-plus wins. And you see there on the bracket, as we'll zoom in here in a second, his team avenging last year's state tournament loss in the semifinal round to Verona. They did it on the road in the 804. They were done after 1 quarter, 2 periods, and 3 stanzas, but they get it done in the 4th quarter with a rally and some clutch free throws down the stretch from Will Braun to win. They'll be taking on the Hampton Crabbers, winners of 26 straight. We say hello and congrats to Coach Zach Harrells. Coach, you're playing for all the marbles. You got to be pumped.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been a long season for us, and a lot of trials and tribulations throughout the way, and really tough schedule that prepared us to get there, and just really happy for these guys. This is the group of kids that when I and our staff first took over 6 years ago, they were in 7th grade, and so this was always the group that I knew had the potential to be here. And more than just being here, I'm happy for them for how we got here and all the work that they put in and everything that they overcame to get to this point. And I'm excited for them, and I believe in them.
Absolutely. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show that you did coach this team to a state championship game during the abbreviated season post-COVID, lost to Smithfield. No, Ed Young was not the coach then of the Packers. But for folks that are unfamiliar, and I'm sure we'll dig into a little bit more, Ed, your background here as a player, then a coach, but what drew you to John Hanley High School there in Winchester, and what year is this for you at the helm?
This is 6 years as head coach here. So I grew up in Winchester. I played at Millbrook High School back in 2015. Then went on to play at Roanoke College, which got my shirt on today. Noke just won ODAC for the first time in 25 years. It looks like they're up right now in the round of 32 as well. So they're making some noise. So I got to play for both Coach Moyer and Coach Nunley. And then Coach Nunley brought me on staff for a little bit when I tore my patella in college. So definitely pulling for those guys. But, always want to get back to the area. And Hanley's a very special school, special place. And really, man, it's an unbelievable opportunity to impact 2/3 of our kids are single parent household, 2/3 federally reduced school lunch, opportunity to help bring something to a program that they've never had, that, if you've grown up here, you just know how badly everybody wants it. And there's been some people that have been highly influential in the community for a really long time that, I've got to know and grow close with over the years. And some of them have passed too. And it means way more to me, for us to be able to bring it home for the first time here. You're talking about a program with a 100-year history, and we've never had one. So always was a dream of mine to just pour my heart and soul in the program and help give them every opportunity that they could to get something that I feel that they deserve.
Special season for the John Hanley Judges and Coach Zach Harrells. His team sitting at 23-5 overall, fresh off a 49-44 hard-fought win over Verona's Blue Devils. They'll be taking on Hampton, ready to sweat it out against Heritage Leesburg, 50-46 in this upcoming Class 4 state championship on March the 14th at 1 o'clock at VCU. And if you can't make it, you can check it out on the NFHS network. It is 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Zach, man, it's great to see you. Congrats on getting there so far, but I know what little I know of you, you're not happy with just this. You'll take congratulations after next week if you get that title. And of course, you're up against an armor wall, but you already know that. You do your work. And I kind of look at you sometimes, and I don't like to make this comparison, but I'm going to say it. Matt, he reminds me of a young Ed Young.
Oh,
the dude goes hard, speaks his piece. Kids are always primed and ready to go. He develops a program more so than just trying to have a good team once in a while. And he does extra for his kids. And I'm not trying to say I'm above anybody. I'm just saying, in watching Zach's progress, getting to talk to him a little bit, we're both board members of the BCAV, And I'm excited. One of the reasons I'm excited to be on that because of young guys like this that make me feel good at what I'm doing, knowing that the business, because my time is short. My sands are running through the glass. You always hear about everybody's day by day. I'm to the point now, I'm probably hour by hour. And that's not only coaching, that's living. So I think the business with people like you is in good hands. And also you won your 100th game in your 6th year. I'm pretty sure Matt keeps my records. I think I won my 100th game in my 6th year. I was at Norview after 5 years at Suffolk High School where I won 95. But let me just say this to you. You said you got into coaching because you tore your patella in college. Is Hanley the only place you've been, or did you do other high school coaching besides the stuff at Roanoke?
Yeah. So, first off, man, Ed, if I can be half the coach that you've been, man, I'll be in a great spot. So tremendous respect for you. And, at the end of the day, I try to be the coach that I know that the specific group of kids and the team that I have need me to be. And this is a group of kids that have felt an enormous amount of pressure to win a state title. And so what I have to be is their fire, but also their ice. And what I mean by that is like when they're doing things well, I have to fuel them and I have to celebrate with them, and they need that. But when things are not going our way, I need to calm them down. And so just as I believe a coach should design their offense and defense based on what personnel they have, right, and maximize the personnel that you have, you also need to play to the style of your players from a coaching perspective. And so, sometimes, my style as a coach can look different from year to year based on how I know that group of kids is going to best respond. And I don't think that you can watch John Hanley play basketball without saying that the kids don't play as hard as possible. They don't love each other. They wouldn't run through a wall for each other or for the coaching staff. And so it may look different year in, year out, but I try to do everything I can to fit the style for them from a basketball X's and O's perspective, but also the style that they need from me and the person they need me to be as their coach in order to succeed. And then secondly, so I jumped on as an assistant at Roanoke College kind of halfway through my second year there, and my time was kind of cut a little short. So I committed to play for Paige Moyer. I played for Paige's last season there at Roanoke College, was a part of the first team to open up the Krager Center there with Coach Nunley, and then tore my patella in October that year. And, Coach Nunley was like, hey, I know you want to, you're kind of a natural born leader. The guys respond to you. Like, I know you've expressed an interest in coaching and staying around the game. Would you like to come on staff here, kind of do some special situations? So I basically was in charge of baseline out of bounds plays all that year. So if you see me getting fired up when we mess up a coverage or we don't execute a baseline out of bounds play right, it's because I know how important those are, especially when you play these really athletic teams. You don't get a rebound, but it goes out of bounds, and you gotta defend it. It's another possession there. So, and then I decided that I didn't want to coach in college. I wanted to coach in high school. I think there's just a greater chance for bigger impact, especially now. I think college coaching is all transactional, and I think that high school coaching is transformational. And what I mean by that is I think at the college level now, everyone's kind of on one-year contracts, and at the high school level, you have the ability to get guys for 4 years and really at the biggest impact in their life in terms of their growth into, young men. And then I coached at Salem High School as an assistant with Kevin Garst there my last year in college in Roanoke in 2018, and then came back to the area and was an assistant coach for Coach Toten there for a year at Hanley, and then took over the program when he moved to Loudoun County.
Talking with Zach Carroll, Zook, the head basketball coach of the John Henley Judges, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. They'll be taking on the Hampton Crabbers, winners of 26 consecutive, coming up in the Class 4 state championship on March the 14th at VCU in Richmond. And, Coach, we don't always get it right, but preseason we had on VirginiaPreps.com number 1 and number 2 in the rankings, Hanley and Hampton. But it didn't start off all rosy for you because your standout, who was on pace to possibly set the VHSL career scoring record, Will Brondwin, goes down with an injury. We thought he might not come back, and certainly it put more on the shoulders of the rest of your cast, including a couple of highlight players such as Kyron Oglesby and Christian Dinges. Speak to how you all have persevered and how Will's bounced back from it when a lot of kids probably would have said, that's it for my season and perhaps even their careers at that point.
Yeah, I mean, Will bounced back with, an unbelievable amount of mental toughness and resilience, and he really has beat his timetable here, and I think that the ability to have just one extra week too is just really going to help him get his feet back under him, and when you come back to playing high level like after being out for a while too, just that general soreness and the wear and tear that you haven't been used to. So giving him an extra week to really get his feet back under him, I think is going to really help us. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like everything you want's on the other side of hard, right? And I don't know if we could have had a harder season, and Will goes down, and then it's like 2 weeks later we're playing Oak Hill at the Arby's Classic, and we got Denby around the corner there. We thought we were going to have Verona, February 7th, and the snow kind of disrupted some things there with the Adam Ward Classic. Ended up playing Hidden Valley, who ended up going to the state tournament there in Class 3 as well, I believe. But it was tough in the sense that Will, always, whether he was shooting it or passing it, he was very involved in the orchestration of our offense from a spacing standpoint. From a standpoint of just occupying defenders and giving a ton of space to guys like Dingus and Oglesby, to be able to make those plays. And so it was a big adjustment for us when Will went out. It really opened the door for other guys to step up, from a leadership standpoint, which I feel that they did. And then for me, from a coach, I had to get really good in terms of manipulating space. So, as soon as Will went out, the biggest game I think that was an eye opener for us was that we weren't just going to be able to do what we normally do was the Central game. So we played Central, I believe it was a Saturday, like the day after Will went down. And I mean, I think the game was like 35-31 or something crazy like that. I mean, it was a really low scoring game, but they were loading up and help on Christian, and Christian was seeing 4 on the catch, and we weren't used to that spacing. So I played a good bit of that portion throughout the year with running a lot of false motion stuff and moving defenders and trying to create that spacing for Christian and Kyron to be able to make those plays. And guys forcibly got better through extended minutes on the floor. And I don't feel like there's a player on the floor or a player for us that even doesn't get in the games that hasn't developed throughout this year. So it's a credit to the guys for being resilient and doing everything we needed them to do. To win basketball games. And that's really what paved the way for us, was that each and every person was willing to do whatever that individual game required of them in order to win. And so it's an incredibly unselfish group with one common goal and no individual goals. And that's why we're here. But, the job's not done, and it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, for sure. And Ed, that Central Woodstock team that Coach Harold Zucker speaks of, that they played in a low-scoring defensive struggle in the 30s, actually playing for the Class 2 finals, which we didn't have at the beginning of the year. We had them 10th in the preseason rankings and are taking on Graham, who lost in last year's final to John Marshall. Coach Young?
Yeah, Zach, I'm really interested in your answer because, and I think you kind of mentioned it, I wanted to say to you as a veteran coach to a younger coach, you've been 6 years at it, 100 wins, and hell, you've been in states more than I can ever hope to be. I'm interested in how losing that stud of yours, Will, made you a better coach. Because sometimes we'll lose a stud, our top guy, and it's like, oh, well, hell, there goes our season. I mean, what can we do?
Yeah.
You still got 10, 11, 12, 13 other players.
Yep.
You still have a whole season. You are picked high. By your own admission, you feel pressure. You still got good guys. So, and yeah, you kind of said it. You had to make some difference. You got the false motion, moving people around. Is there something else that you realize now? And it may not happen. You may not realize it until June, July, but that made you a little bit better than what you normally are.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it made me I think, when you have really talented players, I mean, even for Christian, right? Sometimes for me with Christian, it's as simple as bring him up, shallow cut, give him a double gap, and let him make a play, right? But then, when Will went out, right, you started to see different defenses, more schematic defenses, different types of zones, different things throughout the year. And so it really made me a better coach because we all have these, sets and actions and things that we like to go to, or, for me, it's always dictated on the personnel I have. But, instead of just running, a horns, back screen into a post up for Christian, like it had to be a 1-4 low that lifted into a 1-4 high, that Iverson cut one over, right? That Iverson cut one up and then back screened him into a stagger away and then into a post entry. Like, I had to create all sorts of different movement to get him the ball so that help couldn't be loaded up. Whereas, like, when you had Will out there, just put him in the corner. I mean, they're going to be so close to his face that his girlfriend might be jealous and just throw the ball to Christian, right? Like, so it just made me a better coach and made me, like, you watch Danny Hurley, and how he coaches, and, like, man, there's 20 seconds of just movement before the real action happens. And it's that 20 seconds that made that action even more effective, whereas when you got really, really talented guys, and, I think this is, part of what, like, when I watch, teams in the 757, in the 804, it's like you see a lot of similarities in terms of, like, hey, it's single drag screen, double drag screen, 77 action, flat ball screen at the top, double flat. Like, you see a lot of similar action because, like, sometimes you just got guys that can just go make those plays. Like, why make the game complicated? And I think it just made me so much better as a coach that, like, you can still put your players in positions to be successful. You just have to get more creative. You have to know what each and every one of them can collectively do, better. And then, finding different ways to score, finding different ways to keep guys out of foul trouble, finding ways to be creative with that. Just it really, really made me a better coach in that process. And obviously, I, would never want to lose any player for any injury or anything. But it certainly was an opportunity to grow as a coach, which I look for daily. And it was one that hit me right in the face, and I had to embrace it.
Some really complex jargon there, Ed. It's almost like Spider 3 Wide Banana with John Gruden going through all the plays and different things there.
That's what I thought. We were going to have Zach Gruden here, letting us know what's going on with the play. I love it. Absolutely love it. Zach, you and I can sit and talk for hours, and I'd be writing a lot of stuff down. Let's do this before we get too long, because we know you young whippersnappers got to either go out on a Saturday night, or are you married?
I am. I'm with my wife right now. We are watching The Rookie. Every time I watch film, Hampton just looks bigger. So we got the TV series on, Ed. I'm hoping you can shrink a couple of those guys down there before Saturday and do an old buddy a favor.
Let me say this: since you're with the wife, Miss Harold's there, we salute her. We say hello to her because we know she's the genius behind you.
Amen.
And it is Saturday night, so we don't want to keep you on too long because, as Coach Campbell the Lions once said, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, he's got to give his wife good loving, and therefore he can't be on long on the interviews after the game. So we won't there. So now we got to find out about all these other players, because we know you got some really good ones. Let's start with your seniors. Let's talk about some guys. And also, Zach, if any of these guys are getting looks or have committed or verbals or whatever, because our audience loves to hear that about kids going next level.
Yeah. So I'll start with Christian Dinges, obviously. So Christian Christian has been the, epitome of a player that has, like, developed, like, fully developed and done it the right way. So Christian's story is amazing. Like, you got a lot of players that, I feel like now, like, if a coach is hard on you or challenges you, they just go to a different school or something. So, like, Christian's sophomore year, actually, I saw his potential and I knew how good he was going to be. And he started his sophomore season with us on varsity, and I sent him down to JV for a few games, like, just to send the message to him that, like, you are going to be so much more, and I'm challenging you and I'm holding you to that, and this is my response to you. And and then he has just put in so much time. He has so much humility. He's dedicated himself in every facet of the way of becoming a better basketball player. And you got a 6'6" point guard that just is physically built, has a strong body, is able to finish strong at the rim, 70 to 75% from the floor with the competition level that we've played throughout the years. Just, amazing. And, to be able to handle the ball at the 1-all game against Oak Hill at that size. And so he's got a big future ahead of him. He had an offer from UPenn this past summer. They had a kid at another position that had gotten into the Wharton School of Business early, and basically he committed. But the thing for Christian is he's 17 years old. I think 5 years ago, he'd be right now, even as a 17-year-old, a locked Division I prospect. But after spending a year with Bob at Fork Union, I think he's going to be able to pick out of a hat in terms of all the programs that are going to be on him with his size, with his ability to score, with his length. with everything that he has going for him, I feel really good about that. It's hard for 17-year-old. I mean, last year was two 17-year-olds in all college basketball. And Ed, you know this better than anybody, but one of them is Cooper Flagg. So, when you can go out and get 22-year-old Lithuanians and consider them freshmen, I mean, it's hard for these guys. So, he's going to have a great year at Fork Union next year, and then, definitely be a highly touted at least low to mid-major prospect, I believe, and have a great 4 to 5 year career at Division I level. Kyron Oglesby has an offer to play at Shepherd University, Division II up here in the PSAC. Recently got a call from Virginia Wise last week about him as well, who's highly interested in him. So Kyron's a very versatile. He can play 1 to 5 for us. He's like the perfect Princeton 5-man versatile piece for me. He can play inside out. He can post. He can shoot on the perimeter so that, if he back screens, he can step out and knock it down. If you sit behind him, he can post you up and make good decisions in there. And, he can also bring the ball up. So, that's one of the things that I'll be interested to see, with Hampton, with what they do is, do they man, do they zone, and who's on Christian, who's on Kyron. And I have no problem playing Kyron at the 1 because I know he can do it. And, if you want to pressure and that's what you want to do as a team, then I'll have 6'6" and 6'4" bring the ball up with 2 shooters in the corner. And, we'll see who's going to guard those guys. You're going to put the bigs on the guards in the corners, or you're going to bring those bigs all the way up to defend 94 feet. So I think as you've seen, as our season's kind of gone on, you see some of these teams that normally like the pressure and they normally like to, get up in you. And Kyron's ability to play 1 through 5 and our ability to exploit mismatches, because he can do that, has really presented opportunities where teams are really just trying to play us in the half court. EC Glass towards the second half started to apply a little bit of pressure to us in the full court, and that's kind of what they do. But Kyron's flexibility really opens the floor up for us and presents a lot of challenges. And then Javon Briscoe, he's headed to Virginia Union to be a part of the developmental team there. He had big aspirations to go to historically black college. I'm really proud of him for that. 3.8 GPA kid. He's my assistant coach's younger brother. Trey's been with me for 6 years, and he stepped up big time in the last three postseason games. He started out really hot from outside, got in foul trouble, had to come out, but really finished the game strong for us there. And then against Broad Run, he had 14 in the second half, and then EC Glass, he had 13 in the second half. So he's a gamer, not afraid of any big-time shot or big-time moment, makes good decisions, and he's got a great career ahead for him as well. And then Ed, another one I'm really working on, and is trying to get Isaiah Baxter really to the apprentice school is one that I'm working on. So reached out to Coach today. I know you still got some contacts down there, but Isaiah is like a blue-collar basketball player and just a blue-collar kid in general. He loves to work. He's always looking for opportunities to work, and he's really skilled. And you just see kind of a tradesman in him, like someone that can come down and learn a trade and make a great career for himself. So he's another one for us that I'm working on, and I believe he'll get an opportunity as well. I think that's the perfect fit for him too as well. But he was the one that held the Strother kid to 2 points, and that kid could absolutely fill it up and shoot the basketball. So he was on him all game, and Isaiah will have 2 points, 8 offensive rebounds, and go home smiling, or he'll score 15 if you need him to, or he'll do anything you ask him to. He just loves playing basketball, loves being with his teammates. And then the other one that gets significant minutes for us is Amari Brown. He is going to Fairmont State University to play cornerback, defensive back, as a football player. So Amari will be the first to tell you that he loves football more than basketball, but he'll do anything on the basketball court because he loves his friends, his coaches, and he'll be the first on the floor for a loose ball or willing to scrap or for anything out there. So we're certainly going to need him next Saturday with the team.
Yeah, you love to have those type of kids. Really nice, thorough breakdown there from Zach Harrell Zook, head basketball coach of the Hanley Judges, who take on the Hampton Crabbers next week. Our final one, Coach, and we thank you immensely for the time here on a Saturday night. It's sort of a two-part question, and it goes back to something Ed hit on with you earlier. You play a really good variety team. You mentioned it with Strother and some of those football standouts like Damari Carter, who's going to UVA on the gridiron, and Caleb Weiss, the quarterback. But what do you hope your group took from that and will apply moving forward in this matchup with Hampton? And what would you outline as a key or two for this game against a Crabbers team that certainly has all the components, inside, outside, 26 straight wins? It's going to take a really complete effort for either one of you to beat the other.
Yeah, I mean, I hope every single one of our players went ahead and called their dentist and let them know that they're willing to lose all 32 teeth for a rebound next Saturday. I mean, that's what the game's going to come down to. I mean, it is going to be an absolute war for the basketball. And, Verona gave us a great warm up for that. I actually looked after the game and told our coaches, like, so I preach that, and this is a big study in NCAA basketball, over 100,000 game study. But if you win free throws, rebounds, and turnovers, you have a 97% chance to win the game, right? So last year against Verona, we lost all three of those categories. We had 17 turnovers, 17 offensive rebounds given up. What's crazy is we lost all three again, and we still won the game. I said, guys, like, we had a 3% chance to win this game based on everything we value. Like, we've never in 6 years won a game when we lost all three of those categories. I said, so, like, that's great and all, but let's not do it next Saturday. Let's make sure that, we win the battle on the glass. We're poised at the line, and we value and we take care of the basketball. So I think, the Verona game really showed us that. I mean, it showed us two things. How good of a defensive team are you going to be if you don't give up second chances? So, like, one of the things I tasked our assistants with over this weekend was going back. I want one of you to watch the film, and I want you to tell me how many points Verona would have scored had they not scored on a second chance opportunity, to show us, because Verona is an amazing basketball team, very, very good basketball team, extraordinarily athletic. They play extremely hard. They win all of the hard categories with basketball in terms of rebounding, loose balls, turnovers, physicality. I mean, really good basketball team. Took everything we had to beat them. And what would the game have been if we didn't give up those offensive rebounds? And so that really prepared us, for a hard look in the mirror. And also, maybe there's some scheme that we can, build into that, because a lot of those were backside rebounds. And so I think that's going to be crucially important, and that warmed us up for that. And also, I think the last two games, we got a lot of experience with, like, EC Glass prepared us for ball pressure and dynamic guards, with the Harris kid, and Broad Run prepared us for a big, with Ryan Brzezinski, who's going to Mount St. Mary's, Division I basketball player. And then, Verona prepared us for, like, everybody. I mean, like, everyone on the floor for them is, able to play. So I think them and Hampton, are very comparable, but just different matchups, I think. But, they're going to present this very similar types of challenges. And, they both have size, they have physicality, they have athleticism, but they can also shoot it and score the ball. They're not either of those teams don't have guys that can shoot it. So it's going to be a challenge. Like I said, I call it in a favor for Ed if he can make a couple of those guys a little shorter before next Saturday. But hey, they've won a lot of games for a reason. They're here for a reason too, man. And we got to accept the challenge. We got to be willing to call the dentist, lose some teeth over a loose ball. And I'm excited to see our guys go out and do that.
Well, Zach, I'm be honest with you. I'm a 757 homer. You know this. I told the committee that, the board.
Yep.
And the reason I'm on here is to try to get more and more 757 coaches in there. I've told you that.
Yep.
And I'm picking Hampton. I'm saying it out loud to your face. So if you do win and you catch me in the interview room, because I'll be in the back eating, you could say,
Yes, you will be.
Hey, Young, you were wrong again, because Hatfield would tell me. But here, in all honesty, Zach, here's what I do want to say. I'm hoping Matt and I will be able to broadcast that game in particular, because it's going to be probably last possession. Hampton is extremely big, but their strength
it's going to come down to a rebound, a free throw, or a baseline out of bounds. You can punch that right now.
Right. And their guard play is excellent. And Coach Brown, I think, is one of the best in the business making in-game movement. He's one of the best. So what I'm going to be doing broadcasting it is I'm watching the Brown-Harrell matchup as well as the game, because I'm going to be picking up a whole lot of stuff, seeing what's going on. And if you win, I'll feel happy. I mean, it's not a 7-5-7 team, but it's you. And I know what you put into the game, the heart you put into the game, what you do for your kids. And the last little advice I give you is enjoy the entire process. Yes, you're not done yet. Don't let the pressures of, well, we got to win a state title and everybody wants this and everybody wants that. That's fine. But the only people you need to understand and impress always and every time is your kids, period. So keep on doing that. You're doing great. I can't wait till next weekend to see you. I'm going to try to hopefully not jinx you, but see you before the game, talk a little bit. And then I can feel like I'm been there on the other side instead of over there with the headphones
Well, Ed,
on.
you can't jinx me. You picked the Crabbers, man. You can't jinx me.
No,
Maybe you can
that's
jinx
right.
Coach.
That's
But
right.
no,
Only
man,
got
no.
really
I mean,
jinxed.
they're so good. They present so many challenges. I think it's going to be like you said, the things that you look for. I mean, I'm fascinated by that too. Like like our coaches all week long, they were talking about like Verona and like their, coach that they played zone 90% of the year. I'm like, coaches, I don't care. They're gonna play man. Like they can't zone us. Like they're gonna man. Like I just don't see it happening, at least at the beginning. And so, both of us started man in that first quarter and it was like what, 19-18? And then from there we both made adjustments, right? Because like we both were displeased with the defensive performances, and so we both kind of made adjustments. And I think that Hampton's a team that's multiple. We're a team that's multiple. We're willing to show different fronts and do different things. And so, Coach does an amazing job with that program. Has some great players. I'm excited for the challenge, and that's what it is. That's what we have to look at to it as. And I'll enjoy it. When we win it, if that happens, Ed, and I'll spend the week focusing on making sure the kids are more than prepared for the task at hand. I think that from June to now, that's already been taken care of. In terms of the schedule we played, the stuff we did this summer. I mean, we played Father Judge up at Philly Live. I mean, played Petersburg at the 3-point game with a minute and a half remaining at Henrico Sports Complex. I think you guys called that game.
Yep.
Played Lansdowne at
Briscoe
VA
missed the
Live.
quarters 3. Yep. We had Lansdowne, and I've been texting Dwight today too, wishing him best of luck. And asked him if I could borrow Dame for a day. But
He said no.
no, I'll tell you right now, that's gonna be a game too.
Yes.
With Westfield. So we played Westfield this summer as well. Lost by 2 in overtime to them at the Capital Hoop Summer League at DeMatha. So like our guys are prepared, and like, I think the pressure's off when like that like it's really as simple as play as hard as you possibly can, rebound the basketball. And play elite defense. Like these games are going to be low scoring. They're going to be battles. You're going to be able to control pace and and dictate certain things. And but yeah, I'm interested in the chess match. I love a good chess match. So whenever you have bigs and really really good bigs, there's always pros and there's cons. And like whenever you don't have the size, there's pros and there's cons. And so there's a chess match that goes into all that, and I'm excited for it.
Well, we look forward to it as well, and we thank you so much for the time. And we'll leave you with one final note. If you are a young Ed Young out there, just make sure, Zach, you don't do what Ed does and say winner buys. And if you win the state championship, you never buy the steak for the other guy, because that's what Ed's done with Willie Gauze. Willie Gauze is still waiting for a steak from like 7 years ago. So whatever you do, don't make that maneuver. If you do, plan on saying winner buys like he does.
I mean, I would do that. I know if I lose it, I'm not going to have an appetite. So when's that dinner supposed to be? That's the question. I know if I lose it, I'm not going to be hungry anytime soon. So
I never get it.
Mainly for the guys. I know how bad these guys. Like you have no idea, man. I hope I gave insight to this whole thing, but like
no, you did.
When
Listen,
I started,
these
these guys were
you
7th graders.
Shout out. He said coach is sharp. So a lot of people enjoying it right now, watching through IG, Facebook, Twitter, X, YouTube as well. So it should be a blast next week. Class 4. We've said it all year long, not just because Ed's in Class 4 with you at Smithfield, but arguably the deepest in the entire state. And that's nothing against Class 6 and Class 5 and other classifications have a lot of great quality basketball teams. But all the best to you and the judges, and we look forward to the showdown coming up next week with your team and the Hampton Crabbers.
Thanks, guys, man. Have a great night. Looking forward to seeing you.
All right, Zach, we'll see you.
That's Zach Harold Zook, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. How great was that? He is just so much energy and insight. I mean, you can see why he is a rising star in this business, and his program is so successful, not just because he has really good players, which certainly is a factor with the ones he mentioned, like Will Brondwin and Kyron Oglesby and Christian Dinges and Javon Briscoe, among others there, and the key role players. But you can see he's prepared, he's organized, he's detailed, and all of that matters. So we got another good coach. Go ahead.
He's passionate. The guy is passionate about his craft. He wasn't throwing out stuff to show how intelligent he is in coaching. He knows that. It's regular for him. He's watching film, whatever. Of course, I hope now, as he got off the air, put basketball aside. You got the wife there, watch the movie, get some eats, turn down the lights, and whatever happens after that happens after that.
Stop with you and the lights. Hey, by the way, are you watching the other rivalry game? I know it's Duke and Carolina, but right now on the mothership, it's an SEC showdown with Charles Barkley's alma mater, War Darn Eagle, and the Tide. Ain't nothing like the Tide, nothing but the Tide, as our buddy Willie likes to say. And right now it's a 20-point beatdown for Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Are you watching it or are you not watching it?
I'm hearing it in the background, but let me just say this about Auburn. And I've heard some rumblings, and here we go again. It's getting close.
You're about to go to that?
In the middle of, I heard it last night. I watched Miami, Ohio, the whole game.
By the way, real quickly, I don't want to knock a Miami of Ohio team. It's a wonderful team, and Travis Steele, who's done a remarkable job. But can they win with a little more class and dignity? I mean, do we have to be cussing? I mean, can you show? It almost makes you want to root against them, which I hate to say because I want to root for them and embrace them. But that was they looked very classless night. And then the fans in Ohio are throwing stuff too. It wasn't a good look for college basketball. Right. It just wasn't. After a wonderful, hard-fought overtime clash.
Yeah, and I give credit to a 500 Ohio team for really doing the things to stay with them. I think part of their issue is Miami of Ohio is being across the country. I think for the most part, people are saying, you can win all you want. You don't belong in. You haven't played nobody. I am sick and tired of hearing you don't play nobody. I've said this a million times. What are the little guys supposed to do? Play all the top 20 teams away and win? It's not going to happen. And a lot of the top 20s don't want to play those bottom teams. Miami, Ohio, if they lose the first game of the tournament, they belong in. Seed them low. I don't give a damn, but they belong in.
I agree now. I don't know if I would have agreed had they lost a regular season game, but going wire to wire regular season, even in a league like the MAC in the terrible net, I agree now. However, if they get pummeled by like 30 in that first MAC tournament game, it could swing the other way. But I'm pretty much in agreement with you there. Now, seeding, I'm not giving them an 8-9 seed right now. I'm not. Now, if they win their conference tournament, I can maybe bump up to a 6 or a 7. But if they lose in that semifinal or final, they're not an 8 or 9 to me. They're more like a 10 or 11. We'll see. We might have to get Brad Wachtel before next week for the bracketology. We got to get Brad to give his insight. Field of 68 on all that coming up as well.
But I don't care what anybody says. You know me. I'm for the little guy who never gets a chance.
So you don't want Auburn in. You say Auburn doesn't belong. Get them out.
Yeah, Auburn. Oh, if it came down to Miami and Auburn, no question in my mind, I'd take Miami over Auburn.
But does Auburn belong in? I don't think they do. Their body of work is not great. Pearl's son has done 500. Pearl's son has not done a bang-up job. He really hasn't.
No, and I'm tired of this. Power conferences deserve to have their middle of the pack and 1 or 2 lower to be in the tournament. I'm tired of that. Okay, if you don't like it, then let the SEC and the Big Ten secede from the union, have their own championships or whatever. You got to give the little guys a chance.
Give little guys a chance. Buck says your buddy Buck Moore. He was at CNU making it. How about that? CNU, good job for them. Sweet 16. We had some ODAC talk earlier with Zach Harold Zook and Roanoke winning the ODAC last weekend over Randy Mack, Randolph Macon. But it's great to see for Coach K, the real Coach K, John Krikorian and his CNU captains. How about that?
Hey, let's give a shout out to our good friend Dave Macedo, Virginia Wesleyan. They had a great year too. Not quite.
Lost a heartbreaker to Roanoke, by the way. A heartbreaker. Yeah. It was right there.
And he had a lot of young kids now, so they'll be back next year under a different name. And I don't want to get into all that.
Baton University.
Dave Macedo still will be running the show unless he wants to move up to the D1 program, which he should have done years ago. But that's all frivolous talk. He's done a great job there, and year in and year out, just does a tremendous job. So hats off to Dave and, of course, John at CNU. John still has a chance, so hopefully he'll keep moving on.
Coming up next, we've got Adrian Webb, head girls basketball coach of the Menchville Monarchs. They're taking on Princess Anne in what should be an epic Class 5 championship game that folks are looking forward to at VCU Siegel Center. In fact, that's one of the first games to get the 2026 VHSL State Championships underway next week on the NFHS Network, where Ed and I will be a part of the team coverage for you all at the Siegel Center. We'll take a time out, come back with Coach Webb right here on Cova Sports TV.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there, because here you are more. One Life Fitness.
a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us wherever you are, as we are now joined, Ed, by a special guest. He is the head girls basketball coach of the Menchville Monarchs. This team going for a state championship yet again. And I feel old every time I talk to this guy because I remember when he was a player back in the day. And I'm going to do it to him. I know he's going to go, oh, please don't do it to me, Hatfield. Look at this, Ed. This is back at the Maury Summer League in 2006. There he is, Adrian Webb, when he played for the Bruins. He's not with us on the program. Coach, did you know I had that picture from 20 years ago?
No way, man. I haven't seen that picture in probably 20 years. That's crazy.
I am amazed. First of all, great to see Adrian.
What are you eating, Ed? Well, hold on. You didn't give us any. What are you eating right now? Pretzels? Cookies?
My medicine for my stomach.
Oh, your medicine. Okay.
Look at the muscle definition on this dude when he was younger. Look at this.
Yeah.
And look at that intense. That's some scary stuff to play against right there.
Well, look, he played with some dudes. He had to battle in practice with Jamel McClain and Duke Cruz and Bill Weaver. You remember those guys at Bethel? They were some tough hombres now.
We played them. We played them in the summer league, if I'm not mistaken, because Webb hit a deep three and he went by the bench doing this at me. I remember that.
Yeah, you had Vaughn Wilson at the time, and I had grown up playing with
Josie. We had Pete Josie.
Yep.
6'5" pull inside.
Yep.
Andre Jones and Nick Wright. Yep.
Nick Wright, Andre Jones when they were younger.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. I'll never forget it. He hits the three, does this, and yells, "Coach, you better put somebody in. I'm going to have a career." That's another one of them young whippersnappers I owe something to someday.
All good. It was good times, man. Good times.
Well, let's talk about it because your girls are really peaking at the right time. And, it's funny. Ed makes these bold declarations, and I don't think it is all a knock or disparaging to certainly your program, but he books it. Like Petersburg, it's a done deal. Princeton's a done deal. And I know you have the utmost respect for Darnell, Dozier, and his Lady Cavaliers. But your team coming off an 88-37 shellacking in Glen Allen. You beat Deep Creek 74-47 in the quarterfinals. You're 25-1 for a reason. And you got one of the best shooters in all of Virginia and on the East Coast, and Maddie Leach, who's headed to James Madison. You have to like how your team's rounding into form here going into championship week.
Yeah, what's crazy is actually our first time having our full team was the state quarterfinal game. We've had injuries. I mean, I was missing a starter, Jaden Rhodes, for about half the season. And she was probably playing her best basketball. I think she was our second leading scorer at the time. I lost Amen Bird for a while at the beginning of the year. She had a concussion, and we had to wait for her to get back. And then one of my young posts off the bench, Damani Hyman, she missed the first, she didn't come back till after Christmas. So, we finally kind of got our full team together. And, it's good to get healthy at the right time and try to be clicking on all cylinders at the right time.
Let's dive into it a little bit here before we get to the matchup with PA, because I highlighted Leach, who's such a special player. Speak on her for a moment, but also expand not just on Leach, but the rest of your cast, because you have some other role pieces that have stepped up both offensively and defensively throughout this playoff run, haven't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Maddie Leach obviously takes the headlines for our team. I mean, she's coach's dream. And no one really understands until you see the work ethic if you're around her. And I think if you really come to watch her play, you really understand how good she is. Yes, she can shoot the ball, but she's so much more than a shooter. And I mean, she's done a good job leading this year, and she's had a pretty good season. But it's not just Maddie Leach. I mean, we have a lot of good players. Nevaeh Reed, my point guard this year, has just been tremendously. She's just been a rock for us. Making decisions, playing defense on the defensive end. I mean, she's been starting for me as a freshman, and now her maturity is just, trust her in pretty much every situation on what to do. But I would tell you the biggest improvement that I think we've had is in our post play. Tanaya Henson and Jordan Holder have just really made huge strides over their last 2 years. Jordan Holder's kind of been the X factor in the playoffs. Kind of increased their scoring, and I mean, she's a rebound machine. And they between Tanaya and Jordan, we rebound the ball pretty well, and we have an inside presence to score.
As we know, Coach Adrian Webb, the head basketball coach on the girls' side for the Menchville Monarchs, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. They'll be taking on Princess Anne, the reigning 3-time state champs, 27-0, coming up in the state finals on Thursday, March 12th at 6 o'clock at VCU. You can watch it on the NFHS network if you don't go up there to support Menchville, PA girls, or all the teams coming up at the Siegel Center. Ed, as we know, having seen Micah Ojo up close and personal this past Tuesday in the state quarterfinal, we called, you better have the post defense against the versatile inside-outside threat that Micah is, Coach Young.
Yeah, Adrian, I know, he's done his homework. He's watched this. Adrian, let me clarify when I said I'm going with PA in 5, because who wouldn't until they lose, number one. Number two, I said it's a battle for second place with the right to play them. You won that. And I know you ain't going in thinking, Lord, hopefully we play well. We can beat this juggernaut. I know your mindset says, I wonder if PA will stay close to us. Because I know you're not playing second fiddle to anybody. And it's no slight on you. And I haven't seen you play. I've watched a little film. This is perhaps, and I'm going to say this first time ever, could be the best game of the 12. Now, I didn't say 6 girls. I said all 12, including boys. Hampton.
Why do you say that, Ed? Why do you say that? What makes you say that?
I think you're looking at 2 coaches that put their heart into it, 2 coaches that have been there, 2 coaches that when you say maybe they're slipping, when you say it's too easy, they go to another level. And I think the idea of so much talk about PA, those Menchville girls are going to be like, now let's see them talk. We're here to play you now. Before, when you don't play them, it's like it is just talk. Who can win? Who can do what? Now it has to be proven on the floor. And the knock on PA lately has been at times they turn it on, turn it off. If you turn it off against Menchville, you may never get it back. It's that simple. You can do that against certain teams, but I'm feeling you do that against Menchville, you're not getting it back, period. So I'm going to put it there so Adrian knows where I'm coming from when I say that stuff. About, okay, he's picking this team or that team. I didn't pick who's going to win this game. I said PA's in this game. Everybody else is playing for second place. Now I'm anxious to see what happens when these 2 go at it. Now, what I want to know, Adrian, you talked about some of your girls. Is there a particular young lady who from preseason to now has kind of stepped up where you said, dang, I didn't think she could give us that, whatever that may be? I'm not necessarily saying a bunch of points, whatever. I'm not saying she's a starter, but it's somebody who come through when you really weren't expecting it. Has anybody done that for you?
I would say I had 2 kids that don't get a lot of the attention. And I had mentioned Jordan Holder earlier. Just a freak athlete, volleyball kid, just does all the real dirty work. And she's scoring double-digit points. She's averaging double-digit points in the playoffs. And I don't know if she ever imagined that she would be able to do that. And, coming from really just starting on like how to dribble a basketball and, being able to really have a huge impact on the floor. And then Amen Bird has been so good for us down the stretch of the playoffs. She played minutes for us last year, but now in the starting role, she had 18 points in the first half last night. And, that it's just kind of a testament to, over time and experience, just growth in those kids. those are the players that, Maddie Leach gets the attention, and Nevaeh Reed and, Matal Post, Tanai Henson, a lot of them get the attention, but, Eamon Byrd and Jordan Holder really, really played well down the stretch in this playoff time.
Few more minutes here with Adrian Webb, head girls basketball coach of the Midgeville Monarchs, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV as they get ready to take on the Princess Anne Lady Cavaliers coming up in the state championship. And, oh, by the way, Midgeville has hoisted the trophy before as state champs, as it happened for them going back in 2022. They've also been to the state Final Four. I think is this your third time in the Final Four round, Coach, or fourth?
We did. I think we've been 3 times. Not so if you don't include the state championship year, then we lost in the semifinal 3 times. So this will be a year getting past the semifinal, getting back to the state championship. So
before I let Ed hit on some keys for this game with you coming up here, take me through the coaching odyssey for you. You played for Craig Breon, who we mentioned, retiring, a heck of a career he's had, and you've also coached in the Boo Williams travel circuit. Take me through what those experiences have taught you, playing at Bethel, getting into coaching, being on the AAU scene, with Boo, and what it's all done for you and molding you and shaping you, and kind of your beliefs in terms of building a program, because you've done it from the ground up there at Mitchell.
Yeah, definitely from the ground up. What's crazy is I first started coaching when I was playing for Coach Breon. Y'all know Coach Brown very well, but he gave me a lot of, when I was a junior, senior, he allowed me to coach us as a player. So, that was back when coaches couldn't sit on the bench during the summertime. And so he allowed me to kind of do a lot, trying to groom me as a leader. And I was coaching us as I was playing. And I kind of say as a point guard, my coaching style is kind of similar to what I was as a player. I was very directive and, kind of coached as I played the game. And so then, when I was off in college, I would come home in the summers, and my dad was coaching at Mitchell at the time. He was coaching the girls. My sister was playing, and I would come back and coach. I would come back and coach with him, and coach his future league, coach his summer league. And then when I graduated college and moved back, I was assistant for a while. And I just have learned from a lot of good guys. Coach Daniels, that was at Phoebus, that just retired. He was my JV coach. For a long period of time. Coach Breon just established a program. All those years that we played, he just had tremendous teams and culture and stuff like that. And I picked the brains of a lot of people, over time. I would say, obviously, I've developed my own style of coaching, but I picked from a lot of people within my own district. Mike Talon was in my district, Vanessa Starks. They were older, but I picked their brains a lot about what they did to have their programs where they were. I still call, Dozier is, me and him have become rivals at a point, but I've talked to him at times, or Roger Smith, or, other people throughout the area, and just kind of develop my own coaching style, but picking from, the people that have been successful.
Very much so, Ed.
Well, Coach, we're getting into this championship game. I know you can't really divulge a lot. We talked with Zach Carroll, Hanley boys, few minutes ago about his opportunity to go up against a very strong Hampton team that he's seen many times on film. And that, what do you look as what is PA presenting? And I'm not asking you to give me your game plan, but some things that you've got to. And I know at this time of year, a lot of us will say, "I ain't worried about them as long as we do what we're supposed to." But some things that PA presents to you.
Well, you'd be a fool to just say you're not worried about the things that PA is good at. PA is one like they have for a reason. They're tremendous athletes across the board. They really rebound the ball well on both ends. They can apply a tremendous amount of pressure to you. And they're sneakily good with a lot of their role players are sneakily good and do a lot of different things. They present a unique challenge. I think a lot of the top teams they played in the country, they play a style of basketball that's awkward to play against if you've never prepared for them. And they give a lot of teams, they could be top team Bullies, whoever, St. Francis, whoever they played against, has a hard time adjusting to their style of play. And they put a lot of pressure on you in different ways. They present a challenge, but I think we're up for it. It's going to be a really good game. It's going to be exciting for the area, for the state of Virginia.
Yeah, it's awesome to have a couple of 757, all 757 championship games. We already got 2 on the docket in Class 5 with your girls against Princess Anne on the boys' side, Green Run and Norview, which were supposed to meet in the COVID year of 2020. And we might get a third if the Manor girls and Hampton girls, who both won on Saturday night, in the quarterfinal round, ended up meeting in the finals. Last thing for you, Coach, let you run here. We thank you so much for coming on the program. Just speak to the development of girls basketball. I mentioned it obviously with Boo and all the teams area. Certainly PA is the queen. They're the flag carrier. But programs that have won championships, yours, Sandra Sawyer at Lake Taylor, Shonda Bailey at Hampton. You mentioned a legend like Mike Talon. There are so many good programs. I can't leave out Maurice Fafana at Kings Fork, who battled PA tough in the quarterfinals. And I'm going to leave out a few. There are so many good teams, the Peninsula District across the 757. Do you think that helps all these teams? We mentioned it earlier, the 757 boys and girls were a perfect 7-0 in the semifinals. I think it's iron sharpens iron, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think there's a pride coming from our area in the 757. I think when we win, we all want to see each other win. As we go through that gauntlet, they would talk about like the SEC in football or whatever. I feel like in our area, we kind of go through that gauntlet of playing each other. Up to now, we've played like all the top, I would say the top 7 teams, public school teams that are ranked in 757 teams. We played them all up to this point besides PA. That's the matchup we're going against. But playing those games and going through that intensity and, going against really good coaches and programs, it really prepares us, for playing the rest of the state. And it's great for our basketball in our area. I think we're very proud of the way we play and, the different kind of coaches and teams we have. It's just really good. Like I said, I have a state champion in my own district with Hampton that's won that, and we get to battle them every year, even though we're in different classes. A lot of times that prepares us when we get out there into the region. And then, playing Kings Fork is tough. And Nansemond Rivers had good teams over years. And, you have Princess Anne, Deep Creek, Kellum. You have just so many different good teams in the area to play. It really makes a difference and a lot of pride when we have somebody representing us.
Without a doubt, he used to rock the green and gold of the Bethel Bruins. Now he rocks the purple and gold of the Mentionville Monarchs.
Man, I gotta go get that picture. I'm gonna have to get that from you one of these days. I'm gonna have to get that.
We'll send it your way here. Yeah, we actually have the other one that Will Garlick took of you too, but I couldn't load. I know we got that on file somewhere, but even though we had all the merger and changes, but Adrian Webb, fantastic job again for you this year, and we know you're not done. We look forward to the state championship game coming up this week, and we'll see you at the Siegel Center, my friend.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Adrian, before we run, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
We need you in the Coach Association, BCAF, and I don't want to say a lot on the air, but we need you. So I'm making you give us a yes or no.
It's a yes. Yeah, you got me now. I can't say no to you. You a legend in your own right.
Coach, hold on. You got to hold his feet to the fire. Say, listen, I will sign up the minute you pay off your stake bet with Willie Gauze, because he always says winner buys and he hasn't paid the bet off.
It has nothing to do with Willie. Willie Gauze has already joined. He knows it's coming. He said he already
bought the stake yet, though.
It's coming. If we got to, Adrian, I got to get you. You got to send me your email as soon as you get off this show. Matt, give him my number, whatever. Right. Send me your email. I'll give you the info. We got to have you in all seriousness, and I'll tell you why privately. I put you on the spot enough.
Adrian, here's the right answer. Coach, you have my word. I'll do it, but make sure you buy me and Willie the steak.
Hey, you come on.
Steak dinner.
I'm telling you right now, when I get with Willie, and it will be sooner than later, you're more than welcome to join, because I'm going to be among royalty. I'm high up there. I'll have eyes on me, because after that picture of you, the babes will be all over the place saying, hey, where is this guy? And I'm going to say he's right here, and he's more refined. He may not have quite as much muscle, but he's got more up here. So
yeah, definitely.
Hold it. Hey, are you married?
Yeah, I'm actually just a year in married. So year married. My wife don't play all that, but it's all good.
Okay.
All good.
When we sit down, you're married, Willie's married, I'm not. So when they come around, point to me.
I got you. All right.
Coach, all the best to you this week, and we look forward to seeing you at VCU.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
We'll talk to you up there, Adrian. Good luck to you, man.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Adrian Webb, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV, doing a terrific job. That's right. Jim Heath says it. Hold Coach's feet to the fire. I'm going to do it, Jim, till his toes get burned. He's got to buy. Hey, tell you what, Jim, matter of fact, if Adrian beats PA, you better buy him and Willie a steak before the end of March. I'm going to hold you.
Jim, you know Matt as well as I do, not better. This joker here is the type, when the bill comes, he's either in the restroom,
I'm in the bathroom.
Or he's out in the car waiting.
See you later.
So we know. I fudged on one steak dinner that is coming. I promise. It is coming.
Yeah.
This dude here.
That was 7 years ago.
I went into a place with him one time with no money. I said, Matt, I don't have any money. I don't want. Come on. I'm hungry. I got you. I said, okay. So we order. I didn't order big. All of a sudden, hey, I got to run the restroom. Okay. He takes his computer with him. I'm like, this dude's working all over the place. Next thing I know, 28 minutes later, I go to the restroom. He's not in there. I said, I know he can't be using a girl's restroom. So, and I just had a lady go in there and check. He wasn't. I said, here comes the bill. I said to the lady, hold up. I think I got my credit card out in the car. I'll come back. He's in the car. I'm like, what are you doing? I got to get this work done. I ain't got no damn money to pay for the bill. Ah, Jesus. Here, take this. Jim, this joker here. People think I make everything up when I talk about him. If you only knew what I've been through, that's 2 chapters of the book.
Before we go to break here, can I give you a quick story about food from Pensacola?
Well, you're going to do it anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. So I went Saturday night, or no, it wasn't Saturday night. Tonight is Saturday night. So this was Friday night to Flounders, right across the street from the hotel. Now, again, we're on Central Time as opposed to East Coast time. So I'm trying to make the place I went to initially was closed. So I get the food, put the food in, the order in. All right. Now, I made sure to say, please give me some ketchup with the burger and fries. I didn't check the bag before I left, got back to the room. No ketchup in the bag. Now, tell me how bad this is. That Ed's going to pound me, folks. I need some support here. Jim, if you're out there watching, give me some support. So I noticed, but I went by, I've never done this before, went by the elevator. There was a bag. And I didn't take the food out of the bag, but I said, let me see if there's some ketchup. There was some ketchup in the bag and some mayonnaise. I took that ketchup and mayonnaise and took it back to the room. I did. I'm not going to lie. I did it.
Somebody left the bag outside. You looked at the bag and had ketchup, and you took it.
I did, and I took it. I did do it.
He's looking. Who knows what would have been in that bag, where it was at touched. He don't give a darn. He wanted the ketchup. He takes.
I needed my ketchup. I cannot eat a burger with it. By the way, here's the other part. They left the cheese. They didn't even give me cheese in the burger. There was no cheese in the bag, so I wouldn't go that far.
Did you find a bag with some half-eaten cheese in it and take that too?
No. I didn't go that far. I didn't do that. But I took the ketchup and I took the. Thank you, Caleb. I got an ally with Caleb. You gotta have ketchup. You cannot eat a burger dry without cheese, no ketchup, and the fries. I had to.
I'm going to say, I don't know if I would have done that. Probably wouldn't have, but I just want to let people know. Now you see what I deal with. Y'all think I'm making stories up and I'm hammering this dude on purpose. I'm just telling you, he's 2 chapters of the book. He's out there.
The pizza place. Yeah, you know what? We didn't go there. Didn't go there, Jim. But I did go to Flounders across the street. In fact, I asked the people at the place I went to that was closing to give me 2 recommendations. They gave me the crab joint and they gave me Flounders. And she said, go to Flounders. So that's what I did. And look, I mean, I knew you were going to chastise me for this one. I knew you were. I knew it was coming. I knew you were going to chastise me with it.
The rest of my case. That's all I can say.
We'll take a timeout. Maybe we'll give you another story or 2 from Pensacola. When we come back here. We can't give any food stories for Ed because he was a little queasy yesterday.
24 hours. I think I ate some crackers and 2 pieces of bread.
That's all you had? Really? That's not great. That's not good for you.
No, I'm going to eat a little bit more come tomorrow. I'm feeling much better now. I'll eat another piece of bread or 2, a little bit of ginger ale, and then I'm ready to go tomorrow.
Okay, good to go. We got more coming your way. We're going to go through the brackets a little bit, give you some analysis from the semifinals and some thoughts on the finals. It's all coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk. We're going to 11 Eastern, folks. Why not? We'll talk some college hoops with you, too, on Cova Sports TV. Back in a bit.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
All right, unofficially 790 wins and counting for Darnell Dozier as Princess Anne beats Kings Fork tonight, 65-53 in a heck of a battle in the state quarterfinals. Moving on to the Final Four, Coach, 26-0 on the season. What can you say? You got off to a great start. Second quarter, Kings Fork fought back. What did you tell your team at halftime in the locker room as it was just a 4-point game, 34-30?
Well, we all know it should have never came to that, but it does in real games. And they played, Kings Fork fought back. They fought hard, courageously. Sometimes you just got to get a team credit. I give them the credit where credit is due. That's the first team around here who's gave us a game in a minute.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's the last, So, but I think our girls did pretty good second half. Defense, we came out and we played the defense that we used to playing. Some of the calls didn't go our way. Some of the calls didn't go their way. You can't never blame it on nobody else. You got to do what you got to do.
Unofficially, we had Micah Ojo with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, 6 steals. Both Coach Young and I were saying on the broadcast, her defensive plays, her steals and her block really ignited a lot of your transition plays, and she kept possessions going for you and got your team sparked.
Well, she plays great defense with her hands, the length of her arms and everything. She uses everything where a lot of kids don't want to use everything they got. It's play defense. All our kids play defense, but they got to learn how to play better defense because in a couple of weeks, we're going to have to really play defense, okay? So,
yeah, you're going to the Throne, is it? I think it's what it's called, or the national tournament you're playing in?
Yes, and we're the only that's not private.
Yeah. And what does that mean to you to get this opportunity to go to New Jersey? I know you've taken the girls there before. It's pretty cool, and it's just a unique opportunity. I think it's probably a privilege and honor, isn't it?
Yes. We're just having fun, and our seniors are having really fun, Ojo loves it, she playing with girls that's on her level, against girls on her level. She hanging in there, she holding. All they got to do is back her up, and I got to do my job, and that's going to be the hardest part, because everything in there is ranked in the top 20, everything there. So, and it's height, just good kids, everything. We won't get a chance to show our skills next year, but you just sit there.
No question. Before we let you run here, two more. Certainly you have some big-time talents like Ojo is a nationally ranked prospect, and Tristan Rickenbacher going to East Carolina. Saw her future teammate Raleigh Heights, Giselle James. But one of the unsung heroes we thought early on was Amani Olds. She really gave you some good minutes, didn't she?
Yeah, she's been playing good the last 3 or 4 ball games, maybe 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Amaya hustles. The thing is, she hasn't knowledge of the game yet, but she gets it. She's getting it. So school's going to ask her about her lately, so she's going to go.
Sure. Lastly, to finish off a four-peat, and what will be your 16th ring as you now work on your 4th hand, or you're running out of fingers and toes for this championship. What would it mean for you? Because I know you get asked all the time about, my goodness, he keeps winning, he keeps doing it. How much longer? Have you given much thought to it? I mean, you're having so much fun, though, right?
As you know, I was irking the crowd with old halftime.
You were.
I mean, they suffer, people, and they understand me, so I understand them.
Sure.
And it's all good. Thank you.
No doubt about it. Well, congratulations. Go enjoy it. Thank you so much, Coach.
They must suffer, people, too, just like that.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Sorry about that. I was eating something here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Well, you did it earlier, so I can do it, right? You want to know what it was?
Hey, that's some good hamburger you have left over from
No,
Founders.
chocolate cheesecake.
Lord Jesus.
Oh, it's good. It's so good. I can't say where from because they don't sponsor the show, but it's good. It is really good. Ryan DeGurda out there. We love Ryan, one of our great camera operators with the NFHS Network. Isn't it 11 past Coach Young's bedtime? It is, Ryan, and we're going to go past 11.
And I'm telling you right now, these young whippersnappers out here like Ryan and them, hold off on the old people jokes, old age joke, all right? I can outlast that dude any night of the week and including double on Saturday nights because I'm smart about it where them young ones run out of energy real quick. So it's like the old, what's it, parable or fable, whatever it is about the two bulls up on the hill looking at all the young cows down in the pasture. What the young one wanted to do compared to what the old one said we're going to do. I ain't going to say it on air, but look it up.
This cheesecake is delicious. Hey, by the way, Ryan, everybody else out there watching, I found something that was in reference to Coach Young down in Pensacola. Free ride in a police car if you shoplift from this store. Compliments of your police department. They found you and they made the sign.
I ain't never in my life shoplifted from a store. Okay?
I don't know about that.
Except when I was 7 years old.
Hey, you said never. When you doesn't count yourself, it does count.
See, I'm very how they say transparent. 7 years old, nobody was looking. I was hungry. I took a candy bar from 7-Eleven. And those of you that have never. Those of you out there that have never taken a candy bar from anywhere, okay, chime in and let me know so I can see who the liars are. Now, I was so distraught, raised the way I was by my parents. I turned around to walk back to the 7-Eleven to give them the candy bar, knowing I'd be in trouble. And I know at home I was going to get it. But I ate the damn thing before I got all the way back, put the paper in the trash can, and ran home. And every police car siren I heard, I thought was after me. And I was hiding behind trees and fences on the way home because I thought, I'm going to jail. Somebody saw me. I'm going to jail. I made penance for that. And a lot of times now when I go to 7-Eleven, as old as I am, and I'm supposed to get 6-7 cents in change from money, I always tell them, nah, hold it up. Maybe down the road I'll need it. So I'm trying to pay that candy bar, which I probably paid it back tenfold over since. It's just because that's the way I was raised.
I am so disappointed in you. So disappointed in you.
I know people stolen more worse than that and should be in jail and weren't. I don't mention no names, but
you are supposed to be teaching and coaching our youth and setting an example. And instead, you're doing things like that. It's terrible.
One time, 7 years old. I don't say it was right.
This cheesecake is good if you heard me say it already. Oh my
and
God.
We're trying to do a professional show here. This dude's got stuff all over his face.
It's great.
While he's eating.
Oh,
this people, Jim Heath, if you're still with us, what I tell you, 2 chapters of the book on Hatfield alone. And speaking of sponsorship, as you try to swallow your 18th bite, people, we need sponsorship. So if you know some people that got some money, we could do a whole lot more of this show if we had a little bit more buckaroos to do some things with. Send them our way so we can do it. Our ad department is, for a better word, lacking. Don't tell me you ordered all those.
No, this was the Bunny Hollow at I can't say which club it was at. You can figure it out if you look in the background hard enough. $68.99. Now, I know all the little kids out there, those 7-year-olds that are Ed Young wannabes, would love to have that. But I'm not paying $68.99 for that. No
for
chance.
One box, it's almost $70.
Yeah, one. Not for all of them. It's one.
How big? What is it, like 89 pounds? How big is it?
It's pretty big. You see the big rabbit there. Easter's coming up, Ed.
It don't look that big to me.
I mean,
$70?
Yeah, it's $70. And Vinny the attorney, don't let me tell you you've gotten away.
Yeah, Vinny's right back here. He heard that. He tapped me on the shoulder and he said, what are you doing? Plead the fifth. All right, I plead the fifth.
Well, I don't know if Coach G's out there watching, but maybe that'll be the alternative if you don't buy him that steak. That's a lot, though. I tell you what, 68.
But it's hollow. A hollow rabbit is nothing. You got to have. I want the solid milk chocolate made by either Hershey's or Russell Stover, the real chocolate companies, not some of those fake companies.
Let's get the thoughts now, since we've done enough on food and Pensacola and
come on, man. We got championships next weekend.
Yeah, we
next
do.
Weekend, baby. State titles.
We have to. Caleb says he's got to say that person. Caleb, it's real. It's not make believe. It's real, folks.
Caleb, I'm like you. $70. I thought it was maybe this big. He's talking like it's 5 feet tall.
I saw it today. That's with my own two eyes.
All right, let's get to these games, baby. Let's get to these games.
Well, let's get to. So we had the quarterfinals here. Lansdowne. We had Sherman Rivers on the show. He's never going to come on again because of you jinxing him. There you go. And by the way, had a lead. I did set the interview up, but he had a lead, pretty sizable. I want to say 11 point, 13 point. They were up double figures going into the fourth quarter. Damian Robinson got hurt. He didn't come back. The leg injury. Wonder if he was going to play. I think he dropped 24, 25, 26 points in the semis. I forget exactly what it was. Watched a good bit of it in the fourth quarter against South County. And in fact, in that fourth quarter, Dame Robinson, Rashad Shaw, who was also all-region. Dame got region player of the year in 6A. And Josiah Law, who's been their step-up guy, Ed, the two-sport standout who played football this year. He's got some recruiting attention for football now. Athletic wing. He's kind of filled that void that Xavier Cleveland left from last season. Went over to Green Run. He's going to Virginia Tech for football. We'll get to Zay and the Stallions here in a bit. But those three all had 4 fouls in the fourth quarter, but Lansdowne pulled away. And I got to give a shout-out to Chase Johnson. Chase Johnson has been – for Lansdowne, the unsung hero. He's made some big shots and had some clutch plays in both of these state playoff games. And another guy, Maurice Manigo, Ed, a sophomore for Coach Dwight Robinson, a kid that was averaging, I think, 2.2 points per game going into the quarterfinal round on Tuesday against Patriot. Guess what he does against Patriot? He ends up, and we talk about it all the time. You asked earlier to Adrian Webb and to Zach Harold's look about that step-up guy, unsung hero. And for them, it was Maurice Manigo, Lansdowne, because he goes out there and goes 4 of 5 from 3 in the quarterfinals. This is a kid averaging 2 points a game. That was immense. All that's great. South County escapes George Marshall in the quarters. Westfield pounds Edison. Manchester beats Gainesville. And then Manchester, who beat Lansdowne, wins its quarter, and then it loses by 32 to Westfield, who has opened up its state tournament games 17-0 and 21-0. Westfield's a machine, Ed. They really are. They've won now 28 straight games. Their only loss was to Paul VI, a nationally ranked powerhouse. What's it going to take for Lansdowne, your pick to win the championship, to beat this Westfield team that has the inside-outside game working, has Jamon Price, Isaiah Brown, Colin Stemberger, perimeter attack. They're scoring a lot of points, and they're making it look effortless.
I'm the 757 homer, as I told Zach here. I want Lansdowne to win. I picked Lansdowne to win. I'm overlooking.
Don't waffle now.
It's hard to overlook a great, fantastic, capital letters great Westfield team. I want to stay with Lansdowne because I think Dwight will have their mindset right. That young backcourt, even though they've really done well this year, they're still sophomores. I think they play more like seniors. And if they continue to do that and they play with a reckless abandon with directional purpose, they can knock down this Westfield squad. And I don't want to go against the white. No, Caleb, the whole world is picking Westfield. And
they
rightfully
are.
so.
And listen, this is the spot that Coach Robinson relishes because remember, I go back to the first championship he made in 2004-05, my first year covering Virginia Preps. He lost the region final to Woodside, led by Stanley Pringle and Percy Harvin, the eventual NFL star. And they had a fourth quarter lead. Harvin was magnificent in the game. They ended up losing to a Woodside team that was one of the best teams in VHSL history, led in that backcourt by Calvin Baker and Stephon Welsh, with Sam Atupum and Willie Bell on the inside and Leroy Foster, that X factor at small forward position for John Richardson's team. But this is a game where I feel like Lansdowne's defense is going to have to handcuff or take something away from Westfield. They're capable of doing it. So here's my question to you. They got to keep the score. They can't win a game, I don't think, in the 70s or 80s with Westfield. But I know how good Lansdowne's defense, it's what their program, their foundation is built on. Here's my question for you. Does Dame Robinson have to go off for them to win? Get a 25 or 30 piece, have a lot of assists, be the best player on the floor by far, and dominate? Or is it more imperative that those other guys around him, like a Josiah Law at the wing, like a Rashad Shaw in the backcourt, maybe a Manigo off the bench, or Chase Johnson in the backcourt, or even a Lon Walker, the big guy who shows flashes, has battled foul trouble, maybe he's a key in this game. What will it take for Lansdowne to knock off Westfield and end the 28-game winning streak? This is a fascinating matchup. And again, our number 1 and 2 preseason teams on Virginia Preps, Westfield was 1, Lansdowne was 2.
And Lansdowne has to do what got him here, obviously, proverbial statement. And I think Dame has to play well and maybe a little bit above his numbers now. Because Westfield might say, well, we're not going to let Robinson beat us. Somebody else is going to have to, and really put clamps on him. So Lansdowne has to find ways to pop him to get him what he gets. And Dame's got to understand, be calm, because they're going to be physical with you. He's probably already seen it, probably already been told. He's going to get bumped around, but, he gets that at home from dad, so it don't matter. And then you need like Manigo got kid that hit those threes and that. You need somebody else to step up. You can't just sit there and watch, hey, Dame, take us to the promised land. No, not at this level. And then again, we flip it. What does Westfield do well? Now they just got back one of the I forget his name. You know better than me. He came back recently. He was out for a while. I don't know if it was injury, whatever. Big kid, 6'7" kid. His brother's on the team too. His brother's older, who's pretty good.
For Westfield?
Yes, Westfield. Yes.
No, I think he's done. I think you've got even some bad intel. There was rumors about that. I don't think he's back, or unless you know something I don't know.
Maybe I got a scoop on you that I don't normally get.
Maybe you do.
I saw it in one of the places online. Go ahead back here and look at it. And I think it just happened today.
Okay.
Or I saw it yesterday. The older brother has been playing.
You're talking about Malachi Lee, who's a big football star. I had heard he's not coming back. Well, then you've scooped me because I hadn't heard that.
Now, unless they're lying, and of course sometimes on the news, but this looked like it was from a reliable source. Okay. He's back. I don't know if this is his first game back or the last one was his first game. You can find that out easier than me. But that adds another dimension for Westfield.
If he's playing, because Will Robbins has been their main interior presence there. That could change some things up a bit. But this is going to be an interesting game coming up on Thursday. It's the first boys championship game. The tournament's going to kick off with, by the way, we're going to take not a quick timeout. We'll actually give you an interview before we get to the Class 5. But on the girls' side, I want to get to your thoughts on the Class 6 championship. It's a rematch from last year. Osborne Park and Manchester. We know what a wonderful job Rasheed Wright has done. His team lost the championship game a year ago. Remember, they had Mia Woolfolk, who went to Georgia, was a star player. But last year, Osborne Park won at 60-48. It's a rematch after Osborne Park breezes by Oakton. They're led by Key Rainey, the region player of the year and perhaps the state player of the year. Manchester wins by 11 over West Potomac, which had a three-pointer late to beat Centerville in the quarters. Oakton snapped the, 27-game win streak of South County in the quarters, and Manchester got by Gainesville in the quarters. I look at the score here, and I see what Osborne Park is doing, and their defense really strong, under 50 these two games. And I go back to last year in the state playoffs. West Potomac 39, Glen Allen 38, Manchester 48 in the finals. Does Manchester have enough offense? Do they have to hit a bunch of threes here? Not even a bunch of threes, be efficient from three to take down Osborne Park and Key Rainey this time?
Yeah, definitely, because you're not going to get easy stuff against Osborne. And that's why they can't afford, to miss the good, easy shots. They got to create something out of their defense instead of relying strictly on half court, because Osborne Park is going to defend well. And you can't turn the ball over to a team this good and give them extra opportunities. Zach Harrell said, rebounds, turnovers, you've got to make sure that you're doing the job on those two situations for sure.
Well, real quickly, so to that quick point. So last year, turnovers was almost even, 12-11. Rebounds, almost even, 33-32. Free throw line, Osborne Park was 19 of 34, Manchester 10 of 12. So they made more and got there a lot more, but the three-point line was that difference at last year. 7 of 14 for OP. Manchester was just 4 of 20. So it feels like another three categories he hit: rebounds, turnovers, free throws. The three-point line, guarding it and also getting a couple of threes from maybe an unexpected source or two will be pivotal if Manchester's to close the gap and reverse the outcome in my eyes.
Can't shoot like that again from three. Can't let Osborne Park have those three. And for God's sake, you can't send a team to the line 34 times and you're only going 12, 13 times. That's not going to work because they got girls that can put it in. It's hard for me to call this one. I think it's going to be close. I'll probably side with Osborne Park.
Mm-hmm. Quick thought on the Class 5 girls final. We watched Micah Ojo simply dominate with 29 points. I think it was 12 rebounds. Was it 5 assists, 6 steals, 5 blocks? She was stupendous. But PA showing some vulnerability here against really good teams, Kings Fork and Fleming. Mentioned, we heard from Coach Webb. I really feel like Tristan Rickenbacher, who's a really good player going to East Carolina, is the X factor in this game. Now, she's like the number 2 source of offense to go with Micah Ojo. They have other capable players as PA with Giselle James and Amani Olds, who got them off to that 6-0 lead as we saw on Tuesday on the NFHS network. But I think Rickenbacher is going to have to score here because Menchville's offense has kicked into high gear. We know how stifling the PA defense is and can turn you over, but Menchville's offense is no joke now. It isn't. They've been averaging in this tournament 81 points per game.
They're going to bring pressure. They're going to bring points. They're going to bring an attitude to this game. I think PA, though, is looking forward to it because they have slept walk at times through some of their wins. You can almost tell when Coach Dozier, when he said about Kings Fork giving us a tough time that we haven't had in a while. Now they'll know it. They'll know Menchville, and Dozier ain't going to allow it. One of the key things for PA, Ojo is great at ripping a rebound and going. We call rip and run, where we let we let people who can handle do that. You can't handle, you can't go be driving down the floor and kick the ball to the cheerleaders. She doesn't do that. She can go with it. And she's tough to stop in the break with it when she's going. So if she gets away with that little extra energy, that could give Menchville a problem all night long. Obviously, Adrian, I got to believe he's going to do what got him there, but I got to believe he's going to come up with a plan to, once again, say, if we lose, it won't be because of Ojo. You know, we're going to do what we can, be physical with her, whatever, and make other people beat us. And that's where I agree 100% with you. Rittenbacher and James have got to hit their shots. Both were three-point capable. Rittenbacher can bring it in. She can shoot the three. And I was impressed with both those young ladies when they were doing their thing. It's just they're going to have to do their thing a little bit more against a team as talented as Menchville.
So a lot of eyes certainly on Ojo and from Robinson and Virginia Beach, those two players, PA taking on Menchville, Lansdowne taking on Westfield in the state finals. Another Virginia Beach team is in action. Yeah, there's 3 going for titles. We got to talk about 7x7 with 9 still alive. 3 from the Beach, PA girls, Lansdowne boys, and the Green Run boys. The only defending state champions on the boys' side trying to go back-to-back and repeat. Before we dive into their matchup with Norview coming up in the state finals, we caught up with Malik Gooden and Coach Kenneth Harris after their quarterfinal win over a school that Ed Young once upon a time coached, the Nansemond River Warriors. And here's first what Malik Gooden told us after that win, and a heck of a second half he had with 19 after intermission on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Green Run senior guard Malik Gooden, 23 points tonight, a game high as the Stallions are going back to the state Final Four after defeating Nansemond River in the quarterfinals by a count of 58-53. Your shot wasn't falling early, but you got cooking in the third and fourth quarter. What changed for you tonight?
Really just my teammates motivating me to just keep shooting the ball, because even though if it won't fall at first, I knew it was going to fall in the third and fourth quarter. I practice on that every day.
It feels like you've been giving this team energy. I know you were at one point, I think, coming off the bench. I know last year you started for the team, and you've been in and out. You've been playing some point guard, off guard. Do you feel like in this playoff run, and especially the second half of the season, your teammates have fed off your energy and ability to score inside and out?
Oh, yeah, they started practice because in practice, I lift all my teammates so they lift me up, and then game just feel regular because we practice hard.
I know in speaking with Coach Harris and the staff, they've talked about you're the swagger guy. How much do you take pride in kind of bringing that swagger and your teammates feeding off that, if you will?
I take pride a lot because, I was first on the bench, and now I'm starting. It's just like I've grown so much. I just listen to my coaches all the time.
How have you transformed from being a role guy last year, really an unknown player, playing alongside a couple of All-State players, and Cassie Jackson, the player of the year a season ago when you guys won states, and David Trey Miller, who set the all-time scoring record, to now being the lead guys? I mean, you and Xavier Cleveland have been kind of the main scorers during this playoff run.
I just been watching Cass and Big Trey the whole time because they vets and they've been doing it. So me learning off them will make me better as a player.
Sure. This Nance River team tonight, what were some of the key focus points coming into this game to beat them and keep them at bay? Because you guys were down 10 in the second quarter.
Rebound, play defense, transition defense, and just keep communicating.
Sure. How much do you take pride in your defense, too? Because I feel like when you were on the ball against Atwater #1 for them, or 13 Crews, or whoever you were guarding, you were trying to lock them up, if you will.
Yeah, I was playing a full court. I take very pride in playing defense as a team. We all do. All we kept talking about was getting turkeys and getting stops in the huddle. That's what we did.
Sure. Did you feel like this game swung right before halftime? They were up 10 and you got it down to I think 2 or 3 at the break. Did you feel like you had momentum at that point? You could speed them up?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We was in 50.
Sure.
We was pressing the whole game, and they got sped up, and they start turning the ball over, and we start scoring off them.
Sure. And lastly, to go back to the state championship game, if you guys can beat Stonebridge coming up on Friday, how much of a dream come true would that be? Because I know back-to-back's been the talk from all year long, and people thought, well, they lost too much from last year. They can't do it. But you guys with yourself and Jules Hymans and Elijah Ellison, you have a chance to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a big dream come true. I've been thinking about it ever since we won the first one, and we just been putting in hard work every day to get that right.
Well, he's a bucket getter, a playmaker, and a winner for the Green Run Stallions. Malik Gooden tonight. They beat Nance River to move on to the state Final Four. Thank you so much.
What a game he had, Ed and Malik Gooden, with 19 of those 23 after halftime, 58-53. We apologize about the little custodians coming in the middle of the interview there. You mentioned about getting turkeys. I'm not getting turkeys. I'm getting cheesecake. But Green Run, they get there. They beat Stonebridge. Before we delve into the Green Run Norview game, we're going to get Coach Harris's thoughts too. Your thoughts on that one that we got to call. It was a lot like your game. I know you hate me bringing this up time and time again. From 7 years ago at Scope, it was so many lead changes, ties. Heck of a year for. By the way, I have to salute some of these teams, though they got knocked out. In Class 6 is the same deal too. We touched on with some of the teams like George Marshall and South County the years they had. But Albemarle was the stunner. They lost to Stonebridge 24-1. They were my pick to win this. They didn't get to the next round. Kempsville with Trey Freeman had a heck of a run and playoff ride. Massaponics, I took flack for making them preseason #1. They were 22-7, and they won a region championship and had a really good year. And Nansman had a very fine year, getting the states for the first time under Joe Hassell, and first time as a program since you guided them there back in 2007. So Class 5's got some quality to it, some depth, and last 2 teams standing are Green Run and Norview, so the championship game, which we'll get to in a moment. But this was a really good one between Green Run and Nansman, one of the better games on the night Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a game that I kind of thought would come down very similar to the game we had that 7 years ago. Last team with ball wins. Now, I was sitting there thinking, am I going to see a half-court shot again? And who was going to take it? What team was going to do it? But Green Run, Nansman faltered a little bit in the last few minutes because of Green Run. And Malik Gooden, hats off, son, because you were driving me crazy with some of the shot selection. Now I see why Coach Harris drinks a lot of Kool-Aid.
But you made a comparison. He's got a little bit of Shannon Evans to his game, which is a pretty good compliment because Shannon was a heck of a player, went on to start at Buffalo, Arizona State, and is playing pro ball overseas, doing quite well. So to be in that same ilk means he's got a competitive juice and fire to him, and he's a streaky scorer.
And Shannon used to tell me when I gave him the devil, Coach, I don't worry about my last miss. I'm just concerned about my next made.
Yep.
And a quick side note, Zach Harrell said he had to send a kid down to JV for a while to get him straight. This is why I say Zach Harrell's a young Ed Young. I did the same thing with Shannon Evans as a sophomore. I said, you're going to play some JV. You got 2 choices. Either do it right and get back here and help us, or you can find another program. He did it right, came back and helped us, and the rest is history. Arizona
Well,
State.
Malik was a kid that came off the bench. You heard it in our conversation. He wasn't the limelight guy. Last year, that was Cassidy Jackson and David Trey Miller,
Right.
and he accepted that role, and he's gotten better in his role to where I think he was runner-up for Region Player of the Year in 5A to Isaiah Goodson of Princess Anne. So and he's probably going to be in the All-State conversation if you're runner-up for Region Player of the Year and perhaps have a chance to win a state title. So very good stuff right there.
He's a high-energy type kid. And you got to take the good with the bad with him because his good outweighs the bad. If he's not hitting, he's playing defense in your face, and he's quick. He's getting his hands on balls. So I can see why he has the niche he has for that squad and why he's a big reason they're in this game. And now, as we get here, we say, well wait a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, are we talking about the championship game? Or
Well, I want to get Coach Harris's thoughts before you then react to the championship game. Let's do that.
Let's
cut you off. I knew you were getting ahead of yourself. You get excited about this all 7-5-7 matchup that we were geeked up to see back in 2020. Remember, they played in the region final in 2020 at Norfolk Scope, double overtime. We know the unfortunate situation that happened the night after, losing the legend of that Green Run program with the game-winning shot against you, Ashley James. But it was a double OT game. Jelani Darden and John Hines leading the way for Norview, that Green Run team with Jacob Cooper and Elijah Kennedy. And there was so much into that game. And then we know the season getting shut down because of COVID after Green Run beat Potomac Falls at Norfolk State. Oh, by the way, Jalen Coker was like the 5th or 6th best player on the floor in that game. He was playing in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers as a wide receiver, while it was Norview winning on the road at Patrick Henry Roanoke. But before we get to that, Coach Harris, his thoughts after the win over Nansemond River, and then he looked ahead to that Stonebridge game because there was a little bit of personal matters in that one too. It's Cova Sports TV.
Here with Green Run head basketball coach Kenneth Harris, the Stallions win it by a count of 58-53 over Nansemond River in the state quarterfinals to move to 23-4 overall. And you'll see Stonebridge coming up on Friday in the semifinals. Coach, a familiar foe from, 5 years ago in the championship game up in Ashburn. But tonight, great battle. You've seen this team before 7 years ago at Scope. Great battle. A lot of lead changes, fourth quarter flow. Did you feel coming in that it would be a game a lot like 7 years ago at Scope?
I mean, I honestly knew it was going to be a nip and tuck game. Everybody kept asking me, how's Nansemond River? I'm sorry. How's Nansemond River? I said, shoot, it's going to be a close game. And that's exactly what it was. You know, and when I heard the stat that they played in 9 games under 6 points, I knew it was going to be a good game.
Yeah, they got up 10 in the second quarter, but it didn't last long. I just brought it up to Malik Good, and it felt like when you got to halftime only down 3 that you had momentum because you showed some full court pressure for a bit there, and when you sped them up, you were able to capitalize a bit. Did you sense like you were still in it and okay at halftime?
Yeah, well, I knew that we could press them. That was the game plan, to pick spots to press them because we knew that we wanted to speed them up, but we also didn't want to wear our guys out. So, you know, we knew that was a part of it. So whenever they got up, I never was uncomfortable. I just wanted to make sure we kept it close so we could keep it with the striking distance.
Malik Gooden is one of the neat stories, I think, in basketball, be it at Hampton Roads or the state, because he was a role kid for you, went from sub to starter. He's explosive. He's feast or famine. I think he started out this game 1 for 10, but he finishes up 23 points, and he has no conscience about him. He's like a quarterback in football. He just plays the next play, doesn't he?
You know, Malik is a warrior, man. He's a warrior, and I'm vouching for him tomorrow. I got that meeting, and he will be Regional Player of the Year. So at the end of the day, he is showing that he's a winner. A lot of people don't understand his demeanor sometimes because it come off on, but you know, at the end of the day, he's learning to be a leader, and he wants to win. He don't want to lose, so he's going to show emotion.
Yeah, he's got that passion about him. And what does it say to have that, to go from a player that was unsung, unknown, to being in the conversation for player in the region and kind of Legionite because you were needing somebody to step up, and he did in the second half?
Well, I mean, it goes to show, you know, everybody use that point guard university. We don't say it, but at the end of the day, everybody, if you go down the line, Jacob Cooper, Cassidy Jackson, he's right there with those guys, man. He's a scorer, you know, and that's what he do. Did he have how many assists did he have?
Well, he ended up with, by my count, unofficially 4, but I think you only had a couple turnovers. Tonight, you didn't turn the ball over. How big was that to not give Nansemond extra possession?
So that was one of the things, too, minimize mistakes, you know, and I felt like we were doing that. Sometimes down the stretch, you get a little worried. You know, we'll throw the ball here and there, but, I felt like we minimized mistakes tonight.
Speaking about that, the point guard, because, going back to even before you coached there, B.J. Jenkins was a point guard. Yeah. Certainly we think to a guy that was in attendance tonight, I saw Justin Barnett. You've had Deshaun Wade. Yep. Lately here with Jacob Cooper, Cash Jackson, now Good. How much when the kids come in do they want to kind of have that mantle of being the PG at Green Run?
I mean, it's a road that everyone, that you take. We have a great coach in Rod Cooper, Jacob's son, so that's all he know. I mean, we even had, you can go back to Cortez Johnson.
Yeah.
And these guys, man, they play that role well, and KJ's right now, he's a backup with it, and he's learning. So Malik has really embraced that position.
Sure, two more let you run here. I know early on Zay Cleveland wasn't getting rebounds, but he finishes up with 12 points, gets you about 6 or 7 boards. Elijah Ellison getting boards. The offensive rebounds you got, how much was that crucial? Because you missed some free throws. You got hairy at times in the second half, but you didn't wilt.
So the first half, I didn't think we rebounded well at all. I thought second half we showed. I seen Day go in there and get a couple rebounds. Zay definitely had big rebounds coming down the stretch. So that was rebounding and getting defensive stops was two things that we wanted to make sure. We wanted to make sure we get more stops from them.
Lastly, you're going to play Stonebridge for a chance to go to the state championship at VCU in Richmond. You're not supposed to be here given what you lost with Jackson Miller in people's eyes, but I know inside your locker room, your culture, your school, you all believe you are supposed to be there. I know for you and your staff, you'll take this game coming up on Friday pretty personally, won't you?
I mean, we're gonna see what they're looking like. I'm not that game that happened a few years ago. That was a game that still left a bad taste. So I can't wait to play them. I haven't seen them, but I will start working tonight, and we're gonna see what it is. But these kids are, they believe, and even when we won last year, I felt that we had the crew to coming back to have another chance at it.
If you can believe you can achieve, and this time it'll be in the 757 for the Stallions and Bulldogs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Green Run took care of business with ease out over Stonebridge, 62-46. Just too athletic and too quick for a Stonebridge team that's going to bring back, I think, 6 of their top 7 scores next year. Led 18-6 after 1, 31-20 at the break, and by 19 going into the fourth. As Xavier Cleveland had 16 points. Malik Gooden complimented him with 15. So they'll get Norview, who's led by one of the best in the entire state, Keon Mitchell, goes by the nickname of Fats. Nearly had a triple-double against Massaponax with 23 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. He can certainly dominate and play-make in this game, not just the basketball, but the entire action and flow here. What do you think of this matchup here, Green Run and Norview, and a couple of things that will stand out to you as keys, because both teams come in off pretty impressive showings in the semifinal round, and of course, Norview absolutely spanked Kempsville in the quarterfinal round, and also they looked really good in the semifinal round. Both teams winning by 15 plus.
Yeah, I think this game will be a little different than when they met before.
Well, they didn't meet in the championship in 2020. Remember, it got canceled. But you mean in the region championship was double overtime, right? Yeah.
Right. Green Run's got to handle Norview's physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Fats Mitchell is a ball dominator. He can score it long, short, finish at the rim. He'll distribute it. He reminds me a lot of James Harden, if I can make that kind of a comparison.
Yeah.
And he might play a little bit more defense, though, than Harden does.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
It's his cousin, I think. Is it number 3? Is his cousin?
Samarion Mitchell. They call him Marty. Marty.
He, to me, is a big key. Maybe the glue of that squad. When he's going well, a lot of the things go well with them. They've
Remember
got
that first quarter he had against Princess Anne in the showcase in January was just off the charts. I think he had like 16 points in the quarter alone.
Because he can go. I mean, he's got the speed. He can go. And they're not – so Norby's not that one-trick pony. You stop Fats Mitchell, you got the game.
And you know what? Their role guys around the Mitchells, that's, his cousin Zamarion, but the Hayden Luther comes from football. The Carlton Gregories, those are the role pieces around them. Will Adams at the guard spot, who played so well against Lake Taylor in that comeback win in overtime the first meeting. They've got different players stepping up around their headline two guys in the Mitchells for Ricardo Foster and company. And it feels like Norview's on a high here. And it feels like Norview is going in as the favorite, which is so strange to say against the defending champs. But it's also interesting that the defending champs got here after graduating 2 4-year starters. So, yeah, this game has some intrigue to it. But I'm going in thinking Norview is they're both expecting to win this game, but Norview's the expected outcome winner of this game. If Green Run does some things well and puts Norview playing from behind, it could get hairy late. So, and free throws. Remember, both teams have had trouble to the foul line. But Norview in particular, with a couple of their main guys, I think the foul issues are going to be massive here because I don't see the team going deep into their benches. They'll play that 6th and 7th guy, probably not so much the 8th and 9th guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. My gut feeling in this game, I look at it as Norview's the favorite coming in.
Right.
Because of their physicality, their ability to score inside out. Green Run, as I see them play, is more of, they don't score inside for me enough as Norview does. So that puts pressure on your shooting. They cannot go into 0 for 5, slump, haven't scored a field goal in 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. They can't afford that against Norview. And
now, here's one for you. Does the championship experience matter for Green Run? Though they don't have Miller and Jackson, and they didn't shoot well last year, 3 of 19 from behind the arc as a team in that game, although Albemarle was 0 of 13 themselves. But does that help having Hymans and Good and Elijah Ellison, some guys, Dejon Williams and Kevin Willey Jr. off the bench that were on this stage at VCU before? Is that an advantage or plus for them against Norview, who's never played in this building? And by the way, Norview hasn't played outside of Norfolk now for like about a month.
Yeah, I've always said if you've been there before, it's an advantage. Now, they didn't play the bigger roles back then last year, but they've been there. They got the idea of the atmosphere, which is another reason I keep saying all the state games, final, regional final, all the state games, quarters should be on a college court somewhere. So when the kids get to the VCU, it's not like, oh, wow, look at that. That's a whole nother story. They have an advantage. And I think Coach Harris has done a greater job coaching this year with these guys than he did last year. I think he had a little less to work with this year in terms of overall experience, but he got them quickly on the right path. And he, like Malik Good, and I told you, Malik would drive me nuts. But Kenny knows his mentality. Kenny was able to allow him to be himself, but Kenny still steered him in the direction he wanted to go. And that's a lot of some coaches can't do that. They just can't. He's allowed it. And that's hats off to an experienced guy like Coach Harris, and who's been here, who's won here. So that plays a big role too. But Norview, they're a type of team. They'll take you on out shirts and skins outside. It don't matter. We're coming at you. We're going to give you our best. We're going to be physical with you. What you going to do with it? That's Norview's way of playing. And they're one team that really doesn't. And Rick does his homework too. Let's not get it twisted. They're going to do their thing. They're going to make their changes as necessary where they go. But you better be able to stop what we do because we're not going to deviate. And that's why I put a little emphasis. Oh, Lord, my people, Green Run are going to hate me in school. I coached that a couple of years, and the Harrises I love to death. I go into this game thinking Norview's probably a 3-point favorite.
Okay.
And I'll probably eat crow on that, and that's fine if I do. My picks mean nothing. But I just think their physicality will show a little bit more in this game over the course of that game on the bigger court because it's an extra 10 feet. That you gotta, and maybe, as you said, well, we're only going to use 7 guys. You might have to go that 8th, 9th guy a little bit just to give somebody a breather. But the key guys are going to go the length of this. Another interesting game, but I'm going to give a slight edge to Norview.
I don't disagree with you on that at all. Should be a fun one, though, an all 7-5-7 showdown, and somebody from Hampton Roads is going to come away with the championship. We'll see if it's Green Run with back-to-back or Norview getting its first state title that they don't share because they had to share it with the Stallions 6 years ago. We'll come back and go through the Class 4, Class 3, Class 2, and Class 1 finals and blast off on this Saturday night edition of 757 Sports Talk. And where are they watching, Edward?
Well, it's Cova Sports TV. Are they still watching?
They are still watching. You know they are.
Good.
Come back for more.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Back here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. You can unmute yourself too, Edward. Somehow you've hit a mute button so we can't hear anything you're going to say here after you finish drinking that good OJ or whatever you got in your glass there. See if you can unmute yourself. You're unmuted now. Here we go.
I didn't even know I hit a button.
You hit a button and poof. There went the dynamite. John Hanley in Hampton. We heard Zach Harrell's look earlier. What a job by the Crabbers in that Heritage Leesburg battle. You watched a lot of that on the YouTube stream, Ed. That was a heck of a game. And hats off to Heritage Leesburg. Much like we said with Massaponax and other teams. And Verina. You know, Coach Boom over there, Kenneth Randolph, he has inherited a program from Andrew Lacey that was in the state limelight every year. And they remain in the conversation every year. Even after their top guy, Brian Mitchell, transfers to Paul VI, they still have some good football athletes they incorporated, and they pushed Hanley to the brink. Broad run with Ryan Brzezinski leading the way. Heritage Leesburg, EC last. I mean, DJ Best, they go 23-0. They lose their last two games to Hanley and Heritage Leesburg, who nearly knocked off Hampton. And by the way, Heritage Leesburg returns almost that entire group. So I'm giving you some early favorites for next year, folks. I'm not sure they're going to be preseason number ones, but George Marshall in 6, Stonebridge in 5, Heritage Leesburg in 4. Those teams are, ready to compete for the title next year. I think all three of them, if nobody transfers out of those places. But your thoughts on Crabbers and Judges, because I think we know who the headliners are. Joshua Rice for Hampton, player of the year candidate for Hanley. It's obviously Will Brondwin, who's been their mainstay for the last few years. But there are X factors like that Green Run Norview game when you said Marty Mitchell, Zamarion Mitchell, and Xavion Cleveland is viewed as an X factor for Green Run as one of their main guys. Certainly, I think in this Hanley-Hampton game, the big fella, Gavin Kay for Hampton, can he be that dominant force on the inside to complement what Abraham Taft and Josh Rice bring and Jawan Tucker? They all were a part of a championship run 2 years ago as sophomores. And in the case of Hanley, we heard Coach Harrell. I don't even think someone to score from is going to be who takes that charge, who makes that extra hustle play. Almost like we saw last year when Spotswood beat Lake Taylor. Spotswood beat Hopewell. Northside beat Lake Taylor 2 years ago. When Spotswood beat Hopewell last year, remember you just gushing on the broadcast and with Coach Edwards last year, we knew about Cameron Pacheco being that guy and Tyler Sprague is the 1-2 punch, but Camden Langridge was the kid who had the gauze in his nose. Who's going to be that guy for Hanley to offset a lot of what Hampton brings with their personnel inside out?
I speak more of Hampton because I've seen them up close. And even though their front line is big, strong, does a lot of great things, that back court is, they complement each other extremely well. Rivers does a great job. You mean
Rice, not Rivers. Would you say Rice, by the way, is the third guy in that Ty Woodard Player of the Year convo with Fats Mitchell and Dame Robinson? Now, we mentioned those two last week, but he's probably that third guy we needed to give more love to, right?
I think so. I think you got to look at him He plays under control. He can score it. He can dish it. And he plays tremendous defense. And he's very heady, high IQ. He's just not one of the 6'7" kids that they got. But the kid is probably the big reason they are where they're at in terms of players. And that's why going into this game, I'm giving the edge to Hampton. As I said, all broadcast long, I'm homering for 757 anyways. I even told Zach, the head coach at Hanley, I'm picking and going with Hampton. Won't be disappointed, though, if he wins one because I like where he's coming from, but I want 757. But Hampton and Eric Brown, who I've said many, many times, I think he's one of the best in the business at game management, at making those changes, adapting to changes. But Zach Carroll ain't far behind. So I'm interested in seeing that coaching matchup as well as the player matchup. Though neither coach wants all that spotlight on him, I'm going to give it to him.
Right. On the Class 4 girls side, I didn't put it in the bracket here yet, but we can tell you Manor beat Hanover 95-41 on Saturday night to move to the semis against Heritage of Leesburg. Manor will get to host that in Portsmouth, by the way, coming up on Tuesday, while Hampton outlasts Henrico 60-49 to get a date with Salem, and the Crabbers have to go out there. I know you're pulling for an all 7-5-7 showdown with Shonda Bailey's team against Roger Smith's squad. I just have a look at Salem, and I say they're 26-1, and I think they're a lot better than you and the common person outside of the Salem area might realize. Now, Manor, they are playing with a lot of fire, a lot of spunk. We know about Ciasia Brown, and now this young girl, Bab, for them, is playing out of her mind, too. I mean, Bab, I don't know if you saw a couple of the highlights, just her slick handles. She's doing some things with the basketball, looking magician-esque, if you will. Josiah Babb, who had 17 points in the first half against Hanover. But I think we're on a Manor and Salem collision course. Heritage Leesburg's the defending champs, so they're almost like Green Run boys in 5. They're the defending champ, but we're not giving enough love and respect to those role players who have stepped into their roles, and the coaching staff there, just like with Green Run boys. Taylor Cook doing a superb job of getting those players to maximize their abilities. And arguably, you could say, like with Coach Harris, she's done an even better job this year after winning a state championship than last year, arguably, right?
Yeah, I think Taylor has done a tremendous job, and she's doing it under the radar, which I'm sure she's okay with that because it's what you do on the floor that means more. Manor is playing with house money, chip on shoulder, whatever phrase you want to put in there, because we all know what happened with the court case when they were bounced from the tournament for legal player, which we've already gone through that sideways.
I disagree with that. I think they're viewed as the favorite in this bracket. And you can say house money because they were out of it and they're back in. And these girls, they've got the whole city of Portsmouth behind them. The 757's rooting for them. They feel like it's an us against the world type of thing. And they're playing with the fire. I don't know that I think there's pressure though to get to that championship game, because if you get to the championship game, now there's an expectation to win. And if you don't and the game's close, do you play tight? Do you play nervous? You hope not for any girls in that spot, but that's the reality of the situation, right?
I don't. When I say house money, I think the girls' attitude is we're back in, we're excited, and we kind of know a lot of people don't think we should be here, but we're here, and they're going to show why they belong, and that's what they've done. We're on the court; they're not worried about the case in the court and all that. That's for the people to play around with. They're out playing, they're doing their thing. They only have 8 girls. So you get to this level, and of course, most teams at this time only use 7 or 8. But will that become a factor? Will fatigue, foul trouble become a factor as we can move in there? That could be an issue. I'm praying. I wanted to see Shonda Bailey's squad get in there, but you know more than me, and that Salem looks like they have maybe a bit too much for them to handle, but it would be great to see Hampton and Manor, another 7-5-7 matchup. I think we definitely going to see Manor in that situation, but I'm not counting out no Taylor Cook's squad. There was a reason they won it last year. Let's see what they can do this year.
Well, I'm not going to count out Shonda either, because I think she'll use her bench and she'll have some players step forward in that game with Salem. It's just going to be a matter of if the threes are falling, I think, for Salem or not. If Hampton takes away, it eliminates a 3-ball. They got a real shot there in that game, but I'm just wondering who's going to be that takeover player like she's had in the past, like a Jilla Earp or a KD Perry, that can really take control. We'll see if they have that, though. Speaking of takeover players, we know the Petersburg Crimson Wave have them. They have more than one, in fact. Latrell Allman's the headliner, the McDonald's All-American, Oklahoma State signee, who's a dunk machine, rebound machine, and now his front court mate is back with him in Ladarius Given. It's not as highly publicized as the whole situation with Manor, but supposedly they were sitting out with a situation similar to what Manor had. Given, who came to there from John Marshall, like Allman, like Cam Claiborne, and he's back in the lineup, and they absolutely pummeled Western Albemarle 75-35. Crimson Wave were one-time 4-4, Ed, all losses to out-of-state foes, and now this Petersburg team, which has one of the best freshmen in the country too, in King Baycott. They've got Allman, they've got Given, they got Claiborne, they have weapons, and Ty White. This is not new to him. It's not, and it's new to everybody else now at Petersburg, trying to get that first championship for the Crimson Wave in his first year since the days of Moses Malone. It's been that long for Petersburg. They've been snake-bitten this championship round for so long. 1974, Ed, 52 years. They've lost heartbreakers. They've lost in 2022. You called it against Cave Spring in the finals. They were seconds away. 2012, 2010, 2009, 2008. Games in 98 and 94 and 89 to Hampton and different schools. And Kings Fork beat them and Norcom beat them. The Dorian Finney-Smith team, when Shelton Haskins had the game winner. Is it finally their time? It's been the motto all year. It's our time now. It feels like it's their time now, but Lake Taylor wants revenge. They want another crack at Petersburg, who beat them in the region championship by 13. What do you think, Titans and Crimson Wave? How does Derek Yogi Edwards and company scheme something up to take down this Petersburg juggernaut?
I'm sure Yogi and his staff coming up with something to try to change that outcome. But in all due respect, Petersburg just has a whole lot of firepower. 1 out of 5, where 5's the highest rated. They're 5 almost at every facet of the game. And they've got that size. They've got quickness. I just don't see it.
So what would you do? Hold on, let me ask you this then. What would you do if you were in their shoes? If you were in his coaching staff shoes, what would you do to beat them? And be serious. I know you're some people we joke about holding the ball here. Like, there's good athletes. I don't think they're afraid. Again, I mentioned they played before in the region championship. Given didn't play in that game. He's going to play in this one. At least that's what we've been told. And that game was a game. Ended up being Petersburg winning it 66-53 in Norfolk on Lake Taylor's floor. Now it's at VCU, and you know there's going to be a lot of Petersburg fans in the building, an awful lot of Petersburg fans.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'll make the prediction right now.
The last game of the tournament. Go ahead.
No, all 24 teams in the state, Petersburg will have the most people at this game.
You're going out on a limb, aren't you? Not really going out on a limb. I don't disagree with you for one iota. They're going to flip place it. Yep, they will.
Petersburg will, if there's crime in Petersburg, it'll happen because everybody will be at VCU. I guarantee that place will be filled.
It will be. I agree. It will be filled.
And again, Yogi has to come up with something. They battled him before. A 13-point loss to Petersburg is like a 2-point loss.
What would you do? What would you do? What is the?
I got to be more careful with the basketball. I've got to make more shots. I've got to get to the foul line. I've got to hit points with the clock not running. And I got to pray to God our defense is the best we've ever had it, because who do you look to stop? You know, is it the inside strength? Is it the guard play? I'm
daring those guards to hit shots on me. If Baycott and Claiborne, who can make shots, if they beat me with threes, they do it. But it's almost, to me, the NC State Houston mentality that Jim Valvano took. I'm not letting that 5 be fly slam a jammer where Clyde Drexler and Minshaw and Hakeem Olajuwon are dunking all over me. I'm going to try to limit the dunks and the excitement plays to get the crowd hyped up for Petersburg. That's what John Marshall did, and now Petersburg trying to do that and win their first championship in 52 years. There's certainly a machine that they have quite an arsenal. And if Lake Taylor can get somebody off that bench to give them a boost, obviously their headline guys are Jamari Edwards and Shakari Jones. Freshman point guard who's really good, junior Shaquanta Evans is going to have to handle the pressure because Petersburg, they bring it on defense. I think they're so known for their high-flying act, if you will, high-wire act with the dunks. But they're going to try to trap and cause turnovers that lead to runouts and explosive plays on the break. And Lake Taylor has to be careful with the ball and not take some bad shots from the outside themselves here. So it's interesting, though, because I feel like Lake Taylor, you talk about going in with house money. I think they have house money in this spot because everybody expects Petersburg to roll here. So if they get this thing to halftime within a couple of possessions, you feel like it's not so much mission accomplished, but you're halfway there. Just stay in the game. Get to halftime where you're connected within 6 points or fewer, and you got a chance. You got a chance. You got a prayer.
Yeah, you have to hope you have a chance in any ball game. Though we've heard coaches at VCU say when they played John Marshall back in the day, Ty's former team, it was the one game we didn't feel going in we had a chance. Not to down their own team, but what they had to go up against. Petersburg's similar. You're right. And I've got this, you mentioned this a few seconds ago. People say to me, Coach, why can't teams just hold the ball against Petersburg? That hold the ball stuff, to me, is an ancient term. If you can hold the ball 3, 4, 5 minutes, the right type of players to do that, let me see you do it, because today's game they don't. If Lake Taylor hasn't really done it all year, and I doubt they have, why would you do it now? It's more what I call ball control. Don't waste opportunities.
Right.
Don't shoot early if you ain't hitting a lot, because you're giving a power team more possessions. And when you play ball control type offense, you got to hit 50% of your shots, because if you're not, they're going to still hit a good percentage of their lesser shots.
Yeah.
So if you lose 55-25 instead of 106-70, what's the difference? My thing is, you can play ball control. Don't waste shots. Don't take crazy shots, but you got to hit them. And again, if that's not your style, and you're all of a sudden you're going to do it in a championship game of the states, it's not going to happen.
We'll dig into this one more as the week goes along before we get to state championship Saturday, because there's not two teams that we're as well versed in. Nonetheless, Abingdon beats Hopewell 62-49. Skyline takes down Spotswood 59-54. I was surprised by that, because Spotswood, as you well know, Ed, was my pick to win the Class 3 girls championship. And here we are with this matchup. And Abingdon, I'm really fascinated to see here, because I feel like they have some pieces that we're going to put them in position, even if they played Spotswood, to win it. Skyline took out Lake Taylor. They've gotten solid play. There was no real headline superstar for them, but Ashley Baker. Lauren Baker played really well for them against Hopewell on Friday night. And I'm curious to see the real headliner there for them is Ansley Trevette, because in their game against Western Albemarle, she had 34 points, 9 rebounds. So she's the one player that can really be explosive. The Skyline have the defensive personnel to take them down. It feels like Abingdon can play either way in transition or half-court style of game based off their 2 wins here. And they have 8 losses during the year, but that schedule they played has prepped them. So this is one where I give Abingdon the nod, just because I think a little more experience of being in this spot. They've been in the Final Four round. This is their 5th time since 1987, whereas in the case of Skyline, I think it's their first time ever making it this far.
Yeah, it's intriguing, and I can't sit and say I know a lot about these teams either. I'm only going to go against you just to be go against you. I'll go Skyline, and then I look at, because they beat Spotswood. So they played a favorite in a situation where they were able to hold on in a close game. So a close game shouldn't bother them. But then again, the bright lights of VCU, you've never been there. Sometimes it can be – we've seen some teams get stuck in their sneakers on here. So that could be their situation.
Well, and remember now, they have a better record overall. Now, you play different styles of teams, so that can matter to it. I'll tell you right now, you might not have been following it much. The Union Bears, who beat Ridgeview coming from behind for the second time in this playoff run. They beat them down, I think, 16 double figures in the region championship. And they beat Liberty Bedford. And by the way, Ridgeview took down Chatham, was undefeated in your pick to win it all. Now, I had Clark County at the start of this tournament, and I'm not deviating from it. But this junior, Caitlin Witt, Ed, she is incredible right now for Union. She just became the school's all-time leading scorer as a junior. 38 points last night. She surpasses Sydney McKinney's 1,360. She has 1,395 points in her career as a junior. And here's some of her big games she's had this year. Okay? 57-56. She becomes the all-time leading scorer. 38 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. All right? Not too shabby, right? You'll take that, right?
Yeah.
A couple more games. I'm going to give you all of our games. I'm going to give you a couple games. They beat Liberty Bedford 81-64. She had 26 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals. All right, that's something. They beat Central Wise this year. Robin Dotson, the ringmaster in Class 2, like Darnell Dozier is in Class 5, right? 43 points, 6 rebounds, 6 steals, 3 assists in that game, 21 of 27 from the foul line. So if there is a dynamite player that can dominate, we know about Ojo, we know about Dame Robinson, Caitlin Witt is the one for Union. So what does Clark County's defense have for her? Because she can score it and she can dish it and set people up. So this is a compelling matchup. Clark County's been in the championship round before, trying to win a championship. We'll see what they have cooking. They won the title back in 2023, also in 2007. This Union team, though, trying to make some history of their own after losing in the Final Four rounds in 2020 and 2016. Caitlin Witt's going to be around for another year, and she is a treat to watch.
I'm anxious to see her play. I'm anxious to see how she's going to handle pressure because she's going to get it from Clark County. Clark County is going to be, the minute that girl's in warm-ups, they're going to be on her. And now, Union, what else do you have? Because she may get 20, and it's going to be a hard 20. I don't think she's getting 44 in this game. Don't see it. I think Clark County will have something for her. I don't know, young defense or not, they're going to come at them. And it just seems to me Clark County has more to offer than what Union with that one girl, but she's going to be special.
On the boys' side in Class 2, it is Graham, the G-men, who lost last year's state championship to John Marshall. Ed, you remember it. You and I both do. And it was one you were on the call of, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a game that was 107-81, which was the most points ever scored in a championship game and the most points ever scored by a runner-up. Markel Ray, who's no longer there, had 26 points. Channing DeCibio is still there. He had 22 points in that contest. Graham hit 13 three-pointers so they can shoot the rock. Now they're taking on Central Woodstock, who, check this out. Talk about someone feeling sick about losing a game. I know you were sick yesterday with the stomach bug. Our man Kendrick Warren, former VCU student, has got to be sick with Central Woodstock beating him in the state semifinals 55-51 because TJ was up in that game by 14. What do you make of that?
It's going to be hard to take because I thought TJ would win this bracket, and obviously they didn't. I even like Greensville County at the beginning, and look who beat both those squads. So that's a tough one to take, 14-point loss. But like I keep telling people, in basketball at all three levels, double-digit leads nowadays aren't like they were back in the day. They got teams that can hit three-pointers real quick, and if you're not defending that three-point line and running people off of it, you're going to find yourself down. But that was a tough one to take. But Graham, I was impressed with them last year as they battled Marshall, and they're back again. I think that's that advantage. I'm going to go with Graham going into this, though. I think Central Woodstock has beaten the tougher opponents to get here. I'm going to stick with Graham.
Yeah, it's an interesting game because I don't think we saw these two teams getting this far here. Woodstock taking out Greensville by almost 20. Graham eliminated Floyd County, my pick to win it when the bracket came out. A region runner-up in Graham, but they got to the championship last year. Central Woodstock, first time in the final since 1980, I believe it is. So pretty cool there. On the boys' side for Class 1, Fort Chiswell and Luray. Another prolific scorer here, Ed. We talked about it with Caitlin Witt for Union. Young man for Fort Chiswell named Owen Jackson. He's just a sophomore. 20 points of his game-high 31 came in the second quarter of the Class 1 state semifinals over Region 1D champion Patrick Henry Glade Spring, who they pummeled 87-56, and they made 15 three-pointers. And, oh, by the way, Jackson's over 1,500 points in his career. He's just a 10th grader. Crazy.
That's a stat you kind of like say, what? 15 threes by a young, and it's a younger type team. Interesting.
And by the way, region semis for him, he had 39 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He had 35, 11, and 5 in a game this year, and he had 52 points, single season record back on December 3rd in a game they lost 96-95 to Carroll County. So he's a guy that's going up for 40-plus on a few different occasions. He can really get cooking, and it's up to Luray to stop him. And Luray has some scoring of their own. Matthew Owens, who's headed to James Madison University, walking on there to play his college hoops. He's the all-time leading scorer in school history there. So there's two guys here. This could be a a one-on-one showdown between Owens and Jackson at the end. LeRae has a little more experience, and Owens is the senior. But does it come down to those two guys, or you think more of the supporting cast and what adjustments the two coaches make?
It'll probably be a game where somebody we're not really talking a whole lot about will be the key. Could be another starter, could be a guy off the bench. I think I had, in this division, Patrick Henry.
Yeah, you want both there. Yeah, but LeRae's was my preseason pick, and I'm going to go back to LeRae for the time being. But Fort Chiswell, they're a heck of a story, and they've won these two state tournament games by a bundle here. 29.5 points per game so far, whereas LeRae's had a couple more. Their Rappahannock County game was not as close as it was the region final, and they beat Northampton pretty soundly. So they are coming down from Class 2 last year to Class 1, so you feel like they're better prepped for it. The one that got me, though, was Georgia Wythe lost to Galax again, and this time in their state semis, it wasn't as close as the region final, so there will be a new champ crowned, and LeRae's going for the girl-boy double dip. 18-10 is their record, but their defense has been stifling, holding Essex and Rappahannock both below 25 points in the tournament. Galax, their defense, not too shabby either, 37 and 40 allowed. So this game could be played in the 40s, Ed. This could be a low-scoring chess match between Galax and LeRae. We'll see who comes out on top. But you feel like Galax taking out the defending champ as soundly as they did probably goes in with the slight edge, but I'm not gonna count out here what LeRae can do in Coach Lucas's group.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, too, when I'm trying to figure out who would have the advantage. People are going to look at LeRae and say, 10 losses, what? But they're in the state championship. So what have they done lately? Win. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have to look at. I like to think with Galax beating a Wythe handedly, a team I think we both have going all the way, I would probably put a slight edge on them. But then again, I thought Essex would win that bottom. And when they were limited to just 23 against LeRae, makes me want to look at it. It's a game I really can't pick until I see both teams in warm-up, and then I'll give you my pick.
Give me your pick when you see them both in warm-ups. Well, I'll tell you what, LeRae's a heck of a story. They finished the regular season 13-9, starting 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores, and 8 of their 11 players being freshmen and sophomores. 8 of their 9 losses come into top 5 teams in Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. So they've been battle-tested, and we know Galax has been tested by playing Georgia Wythe a couple of times in the playoff run alone, who won the championship last year. So compelling stuff all the way around. Well, that just about finishes the show, but we'll come back for one more quick segment, get Ed's parting shots on college hoops and everything happening in the world of sports as I look over to my right on the television and I see the Red Raiders running and gunning. They don't have JT Toppin anymore. He's out for the season, Obi's brother, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Texas Tech up 13 on A.J. DeBonsa-led BYU without Richie Saunders. So Big 12 late-night hoops.
BYU's a different team without Saunders.
Well, you could say Texas Tech's a different team without Toppin.
Yeah, but I think the supporting cast is a little bit better than what BYU presented.
And without Toppin, right now they got the ball hopping. See what I did there?
And if you have no topping, the ice cream sometimes don't taste as good.
But I got cheesecake, and that's all that matters. Come back and put the finishing touches, maybe with some whipped cream. Oh, who doesn't love whipped cream late on a Saturday night? It's Cova Sports TV, baby. Say something funny, Edward. We'll be back in just a bit.
Lord help me.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis. But if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that Infernal Revenue Service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. No, it's not in the pool. It's Hatfield and Young at the Plex, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Here are two guys that, even though they never shut up, they're always dropping pearls of wisdom. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Ed, did I tell you I ran across one of your siblings down in Pensacola?
I've got no family in Pensacola. It might have looked like, but I have
You're
no
wrong. He said he's your brother. Right here. Right here. This guy.
I know my relatives, and Big Head is not one of them.
He said his last name is Freddie. His first name is Freddie. His last name is Young. He said he's your brother, Freddie Young.
Yeah, he's trying to weasel in on the family fortune. He ain't going to get
He
it.
wants to be a part of the estate. I got you.
Yeah, he got a knife. That kid's 2 cents short of a dime. That
2
dude.
cents short. That kid. He's not a kid.
I mean, that oldster, that OG there, man. I don't know. You sure that wasn't your roommate in Pensacola?
It was not my room. I had a room all to myself. No roommates. I don't share rooms. That's not how I roll. Number one seeds. We're going to find out next Sunday who they are in men's college basketball. With UConn falling at Marquette and Florida remaining red hot, do you think the defending champion Gators join Duke and Michigan on that one line along with Arizona? I think the one seeds are just about locked unless one of those teams is to trip up badly in the conference tournaments coming up. And I don't see a two now. I think UConn is on the two line for sure with Michigan State and with Illinois and probably Houston. I think Houston's on that two line too. Purdue taking a hit, by the way. They lost to Wisconsin, hit a bunch of threes on them. I don't think Iowa State's quite there. I don't think Nebraska or Gonzaga's quite there. Big 12's a bear, we know that, but that's kind of how I feel at the moment.
I think two could change, be a fluid situation and change between now and the announcements. I think ones are fairly definite. Florida is definitely 11-game win streak. The only worry there is, have they peaked too early? They get, of course, they'll have a couple like 2-round bye, the SEC at least, so get a little rest. I think those are your solid number ones.
Is Virginia on the 4 or 5 line? What do your Ryan Odom's Cavaliers have had? I think they're going to be on the 4 line. That's kind of my feeling.
Yeah, but again, what do they do in the tournament? If they get bounced early, 5 best.
Well, the ACC tournament is coming up. I tell you, as far as the bubble teams go, I think Santa Clara deserves to get in. I think VCU does. I do not think Auburn does with that 12-point loss to Bama. I think Bama's on the 4 line with UVA. Virginia Tech, probably leaving them out. Indiana, you can't lose at home to Northwestern and get them out. Cincinnati took a hit losing to TCU. I don't think they're going to get in. Conference tournament's coming up. We'll see if San Diego State and Seton Hall can help themselves. The Mountain West this year is probably a one-bid league. We know how much I love the Mountain West from years past. I don't think they're getting more than one right now, to be perfectly honest with you. And then I'll give you my sleeper surprise team. If they get in, now they got to get in and win the American, which I think they will. South Florida's my new sleeper. I was touting Utah State earlier in the year. It's probably going to be in the 8-9 game. But now I'm all in on South Florida. I've watched them play. They play with so much energy and pace and share the ball. I'm a believer now of the Bulls of South Florida. I see them being like a 12 or a 13 or an 11, knocking off a higher seed, someone like a Tennessee or a Kansas or a Purdue. And I can see them advancing even beyond the first weekend. Watch out for the Bulls of USF.
Good pick. I gotta be a little bit more waitful. I gotta see what happens in these conference tournaments before I say who's on what line, who's getting in, what favorite got beat. That's when the real, on the floor winning takes care of a lot of question. Now, if so-and-so doesn't win and they're supposed to, now should we let them in? Example, we go back to Miami, Ohio. When you have those type of teams, we're going to hear the big boys say, hey, our number 7 deserves to be in over that number 2 or that number 1 from that dinky conference. You'll hear a lot of that BS coming up. And I'm waiting to see who's hot coming in, who can get hot before I'm going to point to a team. I like your pick of South Florida. Tennessee, you mentioned Tennessee. Nate Ament comes back, Virginia kid, 100%. Tennessee could be trouble if they get through the SEC, get in the NCAA. They could be a Sweet 16, Elite 8 team. I know you're not a big Rick Barnes fan, but
no, I just don't like the way they play. They rely so much on offensive rebounding, and I think if you run into a team that neutralizes that, you have to make some outside shots. And to me, there's a ceiling with what Jacoby Gillespie can do for them. And they had trouble. They lost to Vanderbilt today. I'm not a big believer in Tennessee. I think it's gonna require getting the right draw and bracket. I mean, I guess it could happen. And I haven't seen their game travel a lot. They lost a home game to Bama that they were winning the whole way through and lost at the end. They lost to Missouri on the road. I'm just not a big believer in them right now. I see some chinks in the armor, some flaws with how they play. And I give another team, UConn. I mean, UConn right now, they defend a little bit better than last year, but they have some cracks in the defense. If Taurus Reed gets in foul trouble, they have no other big. And Alice Caravan, they're a team that relies on a three-point shot a lot. If he's off, they get behind an awful lot and have to have these second-half comebacks. UConn could get bounced earlier than people expect. I know they're viewed as a Final Four national championship threat. I don't love this group for Danny Hurley. And, of course, he gets ejected in this game, but I'm not as big a believer. And talk about Virginia kids. How about Jordan Scott from two-time defending state champ South Lakes in Class 6? He's given them some really good contributions for Tom Izzo's group. Starting lineup, his defense is a top defender. He's made some clutch plays, hit a shot here, making a great assist there. We saw how savvy he was a year ago. He's really blossomed and done better than even I expected, probably you too, as a true freshman for Michigan State, very much in that rotation for a team that has hopes and aspirations of going deep in the tournament.
Yeah, I didn't know him coming in. I thought he needed to gain weight, gain more muscle, because the way Michigan State is known to play, physical, hard rebounding team, hard defense. I thought, Coach Izzo would bring him along. I didn't think he would contribute this much this early.
I didn't know how he react to that tough coaching. You got to have some thick skin against the way Izzo coaches. Yeah.
Yes. And now he's for his kids. His tough coaching is a little bit different than back in the day of Bobby Knight tough coach. Even a Danny Hurley right now. If you
or Mick Cronin. Mick Cronin.
Hey, UCLA could be a key. Watch him.
You know what? And as much as I criticize Mick Cronin on this program, I will tell you this. Tyler Bilodeau can shoot that thing. He's got Donovan Dent, who's a long-traveled guard, played in New Mexico. UCLA is not necessarily a team I'd want to see with a short prep and at 8, 9, 7, 10. They could do some damage. I'm telling you, they could do some damage. Like if you're Arizona or you're Duke even, and you got to see them in a round of 32 game, that could be heck to deal with. And then if he loses a 16-point lead and then Mick Cronin's post-game presser could be gold. It could be gold, Jerry, gold. He could just absolutely go AWOL until people.
And how much of that is really a put on where he tells his team, hey, look, in the post-game, I'm going to probably blast us, but I'm doing it for a reason. Stick with me. I love you all. And then he does it, but yet they can still win games over that. You don't know with him. He might be using a little of that psychology, reverse psychology on his squad, but they can still play. And again, it's a great, great time of the year. Here comes the tournaments. Who's hot? You got to win 6 games of the big dance. Who's getting in? Everybody. I do agree with what a lot of sportscasters have said lately. and you're going to hear it more. The days of the little guy stepping up and winning is going to be harder and harder because the little guy's stud was stolen by maybe the team they got to play in the tournament because of the transfer portal, instant eligibility stuff and all that. And I hate to see that because I always thought it was kind of neat to see those teams come up. Though I think the general basketball fan wants to see the power teams win it, the teams that were good. I always like to see those younger teams come up and little teams come up and do so.
That just means that Rod Strickland's Long Island University squad, the first to punch the ticket, locking up the NEC's auto bid, just means the Sharks of LIU will be going to the Final Four because Ed says there's no chance for Little Guy anymore. It's just out the window. So.
If they go to the Final Four,
okay,
whatever I said I was going to do before, if I can remember it, I'll probably do it twice.
No, do it twice. That means he'll pay Matt Hatfield everything in his dwindling bank account and give him a free lifetime supply of not hummus, but OJ. There you go.
This ain't OJ. This is my own concoction here. A little bit of cranberry, a little bit of grapefruit, and a little bit of pineapple.
Does that say Funny Bone on your glass? It does. Okay.
Funny Bone. I've been there a few times.
I know you have. You got a couple of funny bones, all right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of 757 Sports Talk. It's time for us to feed the ducks as we close in on midnight. We thank all of you for interacting and tuning in and watching with us. If you missed any of the program and you realize, why are these guys on at 11 o'clock at night? They're not on at 11 in the morning. Well, I had to fly back on a plane from Florida, and Ed had to take care of his stomach bug, the world's second worst. So you can always go back and rewind and watch the episode on Cova Sports TV on YouTube, which includes our interviews with Zach Harold Zook of the John Hanley Judges, Adrian Webb of the Mitchfield girls basketball team, the Lady Monarchs on the high school front, and also clips and sound with Darnell Dozier of PA girls, Green Run's Kenneth Harris, Malik Gooden, plus our in-depth analysis of all the championship games coming up at the Siegel Center, VCU in Richmond, which you can watch exclusively on the NFHS network. Ed, we look forward to it in the 804, and we'll see you then, my friend.
Yeah, I know we'll talk beforehand, but next weekend should be a blast. 12 games. We'll be up close and seeing them. I don't know how many will be on the air ourselves doing them together and all that, but I'm looking forward to it. It's always a great time.
It's time to get in the lab and prep away, as I will do here. And we'll talk to you next time right here on Cova Sports TV. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you then.